$29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22. 21.
20.
19.
18.
17.
16.
15.
14.
13. 12.
11.
10.
9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9.
8.
6.
6. What happened to 7?
7.
5.
4.
3.
2. 1.
0.
Guys, it's Friday. We got a guest. It's Alan from Smokin and Jokin podcast. But if you look at the bottom, I've forgotten to put this one up for a while. Go support Bastards Road Project, Veterans Mental Health Group. So we're going to bring Alan in. But first, I wanted to give a big shout out to Winston Cabretti for the gift to the channel, Counterattack 1 that he sent. He heard me in a live feed talking about I hadn't ever gotten one, and he sent it to the channel. So new addition to the stuff. Long ass week. Yeah, no shit, Patina. I hit Wednesday and I was like, why does it still feel like fucking Monday? Will B is here, one of the PAN members. So anyway, let's bring Alan in. But like I said, I wanted to shout out to Winston. He sent this to me. He's one of the paying members. He's supported the channel a lot. I've got a ton of stuff from him. But we're going to talk about a couple other things that came into the channel after we introduce Alan. Alan's here.
What's up? Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, Alan's an Army veteran, so let's not hold that against him. That just means that there's going to be probably something wrong mentally.
Wait a minute. Is there a bunch of like Navy people watching?
No, not really. There's I think a majority of the folks that watch me just already know that I'm crazy because, I mean.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in good company then.
Yeah. I mean, there's something wrong with all us military dudes that spend any time downrange.
That's true.
In support of veterans' mental health, I'm wearing my shirt that has the veteran that suffered the most coming back to the country. It's actually it's his. I have the full on mugshot, the full on mugshot shirt.
God, I haven't seen a Rambo movie. I'm going to be totally honest. I think it was still I was like 10 years old, maybe. Like we're talking like the 80s, right? So
yeah. I've watched all of them except for the newest one where he's home, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm not watching this one.
What could be fun in that?
Yeah, there's no fun in that.
Yeah.
Like, I always played it up. He didn't have any family and anything, and now he comes back and he's got a wrench, and like his niece gets kidnapped. I'm like, you deviated too far from the storyline, guys. You really deviated too far from the storyline.
Yeah, I would have no interest in that.
So what's going on? Talk about one of the reasons. Well, to be honest, guys, I invited Alan last minute. He was kind enough to come. I sent him a message through Twitter like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I had a guest scheduled, and I'm not going to say who it is unless they decide they want to say something about me being a dick, because I have scheduled this person at least twice. I think it actually this might have been the third time. I've scheduled this person twice at least, and both times last minute. They're like, oh yeah, sorry, I can't do it. Today it was like, oh, my girlfriend, she wants to do this, so I'm going to cancel. We can reschedule it. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think we're going to. I really don't think we're gonna. I don't think we'll ever have this guest. So just to give you guys a heads up, if you see somebody talking shit about me being a dickhead and saying that they won't ever be on my podcast, well, it's because they fucked me more than once.
And not the good kind of fucking.
Not the good kind either. Like, I didn't get a reach around or anything. So, but yeah, tell us about your podcast, because I find it intriguing. You're just under 100 subs, right?
Yeah. So basically, this is going to be my second YouTube channel. I was doing gaming before, and I just didn't like it. It took the fun out of gaming. It's been a long struggle. It's been since when did I deploy? In 2011, and ever since I got back from deployment, got out of the Army, it's been a long struggle mentally. And I'm just now kind of like coming up out of the rock bottom. And I've realized that, I got to find some kind of purpose in my life, because I'm not happy working 9-to-5 job, or any job for that matter, that unless I'm working for myself. And I found one of my co-hosts, him and I kind of threw this by him. I just kind of came up with it on the fly. Why not have a podcast where we bring veterans on and just let them tell their stories? Because, at the VA, mental health is like, it's okay. It's gotten better, at least in my time since I've been out. But it's like they want to push like group therapy and stuff like that. I don't like to drive to the other side of I live in Columbus, Ohio. I don't like driving to the other side of Columbus.
You're from Columbus? I'm from,
yeah.
I'm from, you ready for this? I'm from Coshocton, down there. So if you head east, you got Zanesville.
Mm-hmm.
You got Zanesville and Newark, Coshocton, and then
Newark.
Yeah, like that's how I know you're from Ohio, because you said it right. Newark.
Yep.
Newark, Ohio, and so you go past Heath, and then you get down to Coshocton, West Lafayette, Newcomerstown, like Cambridge. I'm over there. I'm like east of Columbus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about like where I'm in the south end, so I'm about an hour away, I think, from like Zanesville, I believe.
Yeah, it's about an hour. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from my house to Columbus Airport.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually the same drive time from my house, my parents' house, in Ohio, to the Pittsburgh Airport as it is to the Columbus Airport. I'm like dead center.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me you're not a Steelers fan.
I am. I mean, who else do I have to root for? The Browns aren't the Browns anymore. That's an expansion team. If you're rooting for the Browns, you're really rooting for the Ravens.
Look, I've been a Browns fan since I was like 6.
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Cincinnati, where for a long time, Cincinnati was just only on the roster, so no one else had to take last place.
That's true.
Then Detroit decided, like, fuck it, we're going all in. We're going to have a 0-win season.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, what's Cincinnati's not at the bottom this year?
Yeah, and then Cleveland came in with their 0-16 a couple years ago, and then we got Baker. But yeah, we can talk about the football later. I'll finish what I'm saying, then we'll get into it, because I'm honestly like thinking about maybe I don't want to be a Browns fan. But
be a Browns fan.
But yeah, just to sum up the rest of the podcast, we bring veterans on to tell their stories, and we encourage people. Like I got injured overseas, I got a Purple Heart, all that bullshit, and there's other people out there suffering, and it's always nice to like talk to other veterans rather than go to the VA or wherever and talk to people who don't know what the fuck happened, or what they don't even have an inkling of that military life. So it's tough to talk to and open up to people like that when they don't know what you're talking about, and they just want to give you like a prescribed like regiment out of their textbook from high school, or wherever they learn psychology.
I have a friend who actually is a therapist now in Chicago, and he and I were stationed together for a long time. And that's one of the things he wanted to do when he came back. And, all of us got some manner of screwed up shit going on in our head as a veteran, even having just been in the military. But he was like, yeah, I don't like the way the treatment is going and things like that. So he actually went and became a therapist, and he works at the VA in Chicago.
See, that would be helpful. I went through a bunch of therapists at the VA who didn't know. I mean, I had this lady, actually I was at Fort Knox still, so it wasn't the VA. I had a therapist who like condemned me for not wanting to be around Pakistani people right after deployment. Like I went to Walmart on like what's the fucking Black Friday thing, right? And the area I was in, it just happened to be a lot of Pakistani people, which they don't inherently bother me, but being around them, seeing them, right after deployment, that really gave me some flashbacks because we were dealing where I was in Afghanistan. We were really close to Pakistan, so they had a lot of people coming over the border and just hanging out in the villages, whatever. I don't know. Maybe they come over there for the summer. I don't know, but she got pissed at me because she used to work with Pakistani refugees.
Yeah, but it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain that kind of thing to people. What is this? Just tuned in and heard Veterans Separate Fight EDC is running a charity raffle for veterans. I'm donating. Oh, so this is Transparent Knives. He makes some killer blades that go in already made knives that take that knife that won't cut and turn it into a laser. So
nice.
There you go.
Nice.
So
I don't know anything about knives, folks. So like, I don't even have my knife. That knife I showed you, I don't even know where it's at. I had to move recently, and it was like a really fast move, so I didn't even hardly unpack. My little studio is like a shit show down here. I've got to get it like looking better, but I just don't have the time right now. But yeah. So
how many episodes of your podcast are already up? I looked and I subscribed to it, and I saw that there was a couple, and I saw that like there was a handful of episodes, but I just didn't see how many.
Right now, we're 4 deep, but I have 2 that have yet to come out, so that would be 4. The first 2, I brought my old team leader on. He had like a catastrophe go on over there in Afghanistan, and he kind of lost his head, and he's made a huge comeback. And I thought, man, nobody better to have on and tell his story, because he is the point where he was at after deployment to where he is now, like a totally different person. Like I wouldn't know it's him if not for his face, you know. So then we brought on another Navy vet. It was nice to get like a female's perspective, and she had been sexually assaulted, and then she almost died while she was in the Navy as well. So she's made a huge comeback from all that too over the last decade. It's kind of like, I think everybody has like some kind of tragedy story. It seems like if you've ever deployed or just been in the military, you've known shit happens.
In the military, there's shit that happens most of the bad shit that I ever really had to deal with that affected me was, in my career and being in trucks, I've had 4 separate times that sailors committed suicide.
Oh yeah,
and that's really hard. That's really hard. And people are like, well, one of your sailors, they don't understand. Like, as an outside perspective, everybody's dealt with a suicide pretty much, but they don't see. Yeah. There's a completely different aspect to it when you're in the military, as close knit. I try to explain like why the lockdowns were so hard on military guys and retired guys. And people are like, well, why does it affect them? Because while we like to do that lone wolf, we're tough guy personas, it's such a close knit group. Like I was on a ship, and on a ship, you've got 80 guys. You eat with them, you sleep with them, you're in the same room, you see them daily, and it becomes that thing where, even though we bag on each other and we like that tough guy persona, it is a very, very social environment. And to take that away from veterans and active duty military, you just can't socialize.
Right.
It's really hard to take. I mean, ants can't live outside of a social environment.
Yeah.
What makes you think that someone who's been conditioned to live like that in the military would be able to?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll be honest, that was part of my downfall when I got out. I isolated myself for like 2 years. I moved into an apartment, and I didn't come out hardly at all. I go across the street to get cigarettes. I was living off of, I had made, a lot of money on deployment. Obviously, I didn't have to spend any money hardly. So I had a lot of money saved up, and I had a lot of money back pay when I got out, because I had like 4 months of leave build up. So I didn't have to do shit for 2 years. And I'd go across the street, and it'd be nighttime when I go, come back home. But I watched the whole neighborhood. Like I knew everybody's schedule was weird. So then when I'm getting out talking to people, I'm like, oh yeah, I know. So you like to leave around this time. And they were looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, oh, sorry about that. Because that's what I kind of did in Afghanistan at times, was watch people, Yeah. As an infantry guy, we're always watching for what's, you have to be aware. So I try to get to know who's who in the villages, what they like to do, how they handle themselves, just so I know if that guy's fucking around or not, So I'm good at like watching people and like seeing what they're doing.
I know what you mean. We just recently, we've been at this place for about a year, and I did counter surveillance for the DoD after I retired, and so I did counter surveillance, anti-terrorism, counterterrorism. I did all that for the Department of Defense at the naval base here for like 6 years, and so we moved here, and I could tell, like, it's just an inane thing. You don't even realize you're doing it, but I could tell you the comings and goings. Like, I know what time the neighbors go to work. I know who's hanging out. I recognize all the cars that are in and out of the cul-de-sac. And people are like, "How do you know all that?" And I was like, it's
natural.
Natural.
Yeah, you train yourself to do it. It's weird. I still do it, like in my little neighborhood now. So yeah, I just want to help people. Like, I feel like I lost that purpose getting out of the military, and it took me this long to figure out that I'm not going to be happy unless I'm serving some kind of purpose. And I paint, but that doesn't make me happy, But just doing this podcast for like the last couple weeks, I mean, it's great.
I've told all the folks that are on my hey, what's up, Spitfire? Spitfire is he's a Marine up at Camp Pendleton, just up north here. He helped me move into this house.
Nice.
He writes for Task. He writes for Task and Purpose. It's like an online publication about knives. He reviewed my knife design where hey, there it is. It came back from Cole over at Tri-State EDC. He reviewed this knife design, and I think he also reviewed the little guy that I made, the little.
Oh, that's cool. Little tummy tickler.
Yeah, just a little everyday carry fixed blade you can use for, taking what's inside someone and putting it on the outside if you want to.
I had seen, what's that show on History Channel that where they make knives in like an hour or something like that?
Forged in Fire. I had last Friday, I had one of the winners of Forged in Fire on the channel.
Okay, cool.
Jared Ball out of Tomball, Texas. Makes amazing knives.
Well, there's a ranger on there, and he was doing it as therapy. Like, he would he was trying to like reach out to other veterans and have them come in and make blades, like blade therapy. And
I know. I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't watch that show because when I would make knives, I wouldn't do it. Like, I wasn't hammering them out. I'd get a piece of high quality steel. I'd do the heat treat, and I'd just grind it out of a single piece of steel because, well, that's doing the forging is like absolutely the hardest way possible to make a knife. But you were saying, like, the podcast, feeling like it gives you some. I've told everybody here that, like, doing these live feeds is almost like therapy. It gets me outside of a comfort zone. I get the interaction with the even if it's just me and I'm just talking to the chat, like these guys are here. So yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, can you let me know in the comments section, is the, like, I know Alan said he can hear the hum. Can you guys hear the hum tonight? Because typically you guys can't. And it's weird because if I put my hand on my laptop, it stops. You hear it?
Yeah, that's weird. Put something on it. Like
I've tried putting anything. It's like I have to ground it, but nothing I do, like running a wire or laying something across it, nothing works.
I hope I don't have a hum, but I don't have a laptop, so I don't know why that would do that. That's weird.
Yeah, these guys are
they don't have a hum. They said
they don't. Yeah, they don't have a hum.
Cool.
Yeah, Josh says he can hear the hum, but a lot of people. Yeah, I got it. Damn it. Well, we're just gonna have to deal with it. I got this microphone. I have a friend that had a podcast and he stopped doing it, and he sent me this canister mic. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you should try it. You can use it." And he's like, "I won't charge you anything for. I'll just send it to you." And I'm like, "Okay." Did that help? Did that get rid of the hum for you guys? But the nice thing about it is, like, I can have echo and
do stuff like this.
That's pretty cool.
So.
Oh yeah, Patina Turner says that's a funny. Set the laptop on a rubber mat. It might be vibration from the fan.
The fan's off. I have a fan pad. It's off. It's when it's not vibration. It's because if I touch the cord for the mic off to the side, the actual 3-prong plug for the microphone, it goes away.
Are you plugged into like the wall? Maybe it's the outlet.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No, the microphone takes power from the laptop.
Well, I meant like, is the laptop plugged into the wall?
No, it's plugged in pretty far away. The cord's pretty long. It's plugged in way far away on an extension cord. So I don't know. Patina says it's gone now. I don't know. Who knows?
Some people hear, some people don't. Like,
Yeah.
I've grown used to it. So just give it like 10 minutes, folks.
I mean, I live with a hum in my ears all the time because I worked inside a 5-inch. I worked inside a 5-inch gun system for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Firing a 72-pound projectile.
I was recording earlier, and I had to stop the podcast. All of a sudden, I got this really loud ringing. I always have a constant ringing, but it was like disruptive at this point. And it's only happened a few times, and recently, just it's been a thing. I've woken up to it like at 4 o'clock in the morning. It wakes me up.
Do you lose hearing in one or both ears when that happens? Because I have the same thing, and I'll get this really overpowering ringing in like my ear or one ear, and then I can't hear out of that ear for a couple seconds. I'm like, what the? And then I'm all like disoriented. I'm like, what the fuck?
So this is the first time it's happened when I was awake. It's woken me up a couple times, so I don't know. Like I didn't really have a choice to like think about it. I was just like, and then all right, let's go, because it was just I had the freedom ring tinnitus. Yeah,
the real freedom ring tinnitus.
Seriously, like I thought back then like, oh, I don't need the hearing pro, and then you go out and shoot and shoot and shoot, and you're like, oh, I'm not losing any hearing,
Yeah.
And then you get blown up, and then 10 years later, you're like, oh, I can't really hear.
Like, what was that? What was that noise? What noise?
Yeah.
Like, my daughter's like, "Do you hear that?" I was like, "I don't. Fucking, who do you think you're talking to?" She'll because my wife's Japanese, and my wife's really like wearing a mask is a really common thing in Japan, and my wife still, if she's going someplace, will wear a mask, and my daughter a lot of times does too, and it's just one of those things that like I don't do it because, well, it makes my beard get all tangled up.
Right. Itchy too.
She'll have a mask on coming back from like the ice rink or something because she's a figure skater, and she'll forget to take it off, and she'll be talking to me, and it's like, I gotta see your lips. I can't hear a fucking word you're saying. She's like, you are so deaf. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know.
Yeah. It's part of it is reading the lips. You don't realize that maybe I can read lips, but you can figure things out if you can see the lips moving.
When they started mandating masks, I'm like, my hearing is shot. I made an appointment at Balboa Naval Medical Hospital to get fitted for hearing aids. Problem is, I've had a head trauma. I fell down an access trunk on the ship. Mine wasn't.
Oh shit!
But I fell down an access trunk and it broke my neck and some ribs and
dislocated.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, is that why you got out?" I was like, "No, that was in my 20s. We just weren't pussies back then." Like, I didn't get medically retired until I was like just shy of 18. Like 2000, I've already had a kid. And they're like,
when did you get out?
Huh? I got out in 2009.
Okay, I was just getting in.
Yeah, I'm old, bro.
Well, I'm 40, so
I'm 40. I'm 48 this year.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but no. Like I had a head trauma, and she's like, "Well, I see that you had a closed head trauma," and she's like, "And you have," so I have the things that go with that. I have a TBI. I just didn't get blown up. So the things that go with it, like the difficulty controlling emotion, I get really, really mad, off the handle mad for no fucking reason, like that, and then it's gone. Just hope I didn't fucking break somebody's skull in that split second, and things like that. And she's like, well, that center of the brain also controls the brain's ability to filter out background noise. And she's like, if I give you hearing aids, which you are deaf enough for, she's like, they're not going to help. They're just going to make everything louder, and you're going to have the same fucking problem. I'm like,
really?
Well, that's great. So
I haven't even tried hearing aids. I'm out. Okay, next time I go to the VA, I'm going to talk to my doctor about that, because it is starting to get to the point where it is causing like a little bit of a problem. It
does. It causes a lot of problems. There's a program you can use where you can actually try to retrain your brain. And it's a free program, but it's just so time consuming. It's like the lessons, like you have to like do it. And I'm like, I just don't fucking have time for this.
Right.
So my buddy David here, he was with the 31st MEU in Okinawa, out there with the dirty worst. He's I think David was David. You weren't a mortarman, right? You weren't a full on felon, but you were close.
Which one's David?
David is hiking with a Viking.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because I hope you guys. I'll put like a link to my channel because we're gonna have you on.
Oh, are
if you
we?
want,
I didn't know we were doing it. I didn't know that's what we were doing.
Not right now. Eventually, we're gonna have you on to my podcast. So I'll put a link in my channel for your viewers if you guys want to hear like his full story about military. Like I don't want to make everything about military tonight. Because
I mean, most of my military career was spent overseas on ships. But
I don't know that I could do that.
Oh, I loved it. Like everybody's there are some people that are just meant for life on board a ship, and I daily miss being at sea. Like I was never happier than when I was on a ship and that ship was at sea. I mean, I would miss my wife, I'd miss my girlfriend at the time, whatever, But the time that I was at sea, it was just, you're away from everything. You're doing your job. You're out at sea, and it's just, you form a relationship with the ocean. Like for years, I had such a hard time sleeping for years because I mean, even when the ship was in port after I got married, I'd come home, and there was a lot of times that I would go home, eat dinner, hang out at the house till like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I'd drive back to sleep on the ship because I couldn't sleep on a bed that didn't move.
That's wild.
The ship's sleep. Oh, it's like,
why don't you get a water bed? No? Okay.
I'm all busted up, bro. I have a hard time walking. I have a hard time getting out of my bed now. I can't imagine trying to get out of a water bed.
Yeah, that might kind of suck. I feel the same way about like being when I was in Afghanistan, because there was that day-to-day life of being back in the United States. It's like you don't have to worry about it. I had nothing to worry about. Like, okay, I had to worry about incoming. I had to worry about a bullet whizzing by my head. I had to worry about getting blown up. But you know what? That wasn't so bad. If it sounds crazy, it was not so bad compared to worrying about bills, worrying about all the other, just stupid shit back at home.
I tried to explain that to someone. I was like, when you're downrange, you have a handful of things you have to worry about. You got to wake up, brush your teeth, you got to get something to eat. You got to fucking get your uniform on, and you got to shave, and then you got to not die. You can skip everything on this hand as long as you rinse and repeat number 6. As long as you rinse and repeat number 6. I didn't have to worry about whether the bills got paid, the water bill, the electric bill. Did I flush the fucking toilet so my wife's not going to get pissed? Did I turn off the lights in the garage? Those things, it just becomes a day. You had one thing that you did every day.
Right.
And it was just not get shot.
Yeah, basically. Not get shot, not get blown up. Yeah, it was so simple. Like it was like being a little kid again, almost. Like you were having fun.
I didn't have to do my own fucking laundry. I just gave a bag of shit to the Hajis, and then it would come back, and I would have clean clothes.
I wouldn't even trust them to do that. We had a small little hut for laundry, and I think I maybe washed my clothes twice. I didn't change my underwear. I didn't change my underwear until I got injured, and then I had no choice. They cut them off me. So
people don't understand that. Like when you're deployed, like there's a lot of times you'll go like weeks without a shower.
Well, mine was superstition. Yeah. Like I'd rather a horse bath anyways, because the water they brought us had this. It's you ever go into like a pool where a lot of people have been in it and they probably aren't like upkeeping it. You get that film slime. That's what the water was like, and I'm like, that's disgusting. I'd rather just do a horse bath and be on.
Mike hates crowd and loves being at sea. It all makes sense. Now I hate crowds. Like my wife and kids. I once I'm there for a little bit. If I'm in a I can go to Disneyland with a kid because they have a lot of security. It's a fairly safe place. But to go to the county fair, I catch myself doing things that are out of character for most people, like standing in a urinal and I'm using the flusher valve as a mirror so I can see anybody that's coming in behind me, shit like that. And people are like, you do what now? I was like, you don't do that? And they're like, no. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I do.
We have weird habits. That's all I can say about it. I think we've gone over a few of them. It's just, it's so hard to explain to people that, but that's another thing, man. I've had civilians ask if they can come on the podcast. I'm like, for what? you're not in the military. Well, we just want to know how to handle a veteran better. And I'm like, well, just watch the podcast, and you'll pick up on some shit,
Just
but like
fucking talk to them, and they'll tell you what you're doing wrong. We're vocal.
Yeah,
Like, you're being a fucking idiot right now.
Mhm.
A lot of people are like, he's being aggressive. No, he's not. He's trying to communicate to you in a fashion that he's used to.
right.
But you're being a fucking idiot right now, and
Yeah.
you're not doing what he wants you to do. Like, I need help from you, and you're not helping me. Which a lot of times they're like, you're just being aggressive, which then pisses me off, and then I have a tendency to fucking then get more aggressive.
You mentioned like the anger thing, and it just goes away. Like you just get it out of you, and then
It's
it just
just
goes
like-
away.
It's like I'm explosively angry
Mhm.
for like a few seconds. And as long as I'm not in range of something that could be used as a weapon or get broken, everything's copacetic.
Yeah.
As long as like my wife and kid, like when I get explosively mad like that, they just shut up. They stop. They're like, and my poor daughter, she'll have friends over and they're like, "What's wrong with your dad?" She's like, just
Yeah.
give him a second. It'll be okay.
Yeah. It'll be all
And
right.
then I'm fine. And she's like,
Yeah.
"See?" And they're like, it's like you just don't want to interact at that moment because then it's just
Yeah.
going to get worse.
That's like when I'm playing a game and I eventually it's a build up. It's a slow build up, and I get pissed off. I'll throw my headset and I'll be like, "All right, I'm good. We're good, man."
That's a very good portrayal. I was actually friends with Chris Kyle. I met Chris through a friend of mine named Luke Barker, who was the armorer for the SEAL teams out here.
Really?
And I got to meet Chris, and he was a great guy. But yeah, absolutely. I read the book. I haven't watched the movie. I've never watched it because I just can't bring myself to watch it because I'm afraid they're gonna. Everybody tells me how great it is, and I was like, yeah, but like having known that individual it's based on, I'm afraid that they may have done it in injustice. So I just won't watch it. I'm just going to trust that everyone. I've never watched it, but hang on a second. I've got to give Aiden a little thanks here.
Sure.
Let's see here. I'm not glamorizing my bad temper. I'm just saying it's just a thing. And everybody's like, well, just calm down. I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's called explosive rage disorder. It happens with TBIs. It's uncontrollable. It's not like, well, just calm down. How about you relocate your butthole? Like, is that a possibility? Because it's just not something that happens. It's not like you're just like, oh, I'm just going to put my butthole over here today. It doesn't happen. You can't. It's out of your control, and you can feel it happen. And I like, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. If you have the same, you can feel it happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. You feel bad about it. You feel it happening. You want it to stop, and it's like a crashing wave. There's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, like I said, there's usually no build up. There can be, like, I can feel it coming on, like in a video game, but really it'll just happen. And honestly, it's something I've worked on. See, like, I hired an outside agency for 2 years. And I'm going to be totally honest, it's going to sound stupid. I couldn't find a therapist I could open up to, right? So I found this chick, and she was hot, and
Hot chicks.
I was like, I give her a chance. It took me a while. Ever since I was working with her, we worked on my temper, and maybe it's something that it still happens, like you said, and whoever that was, like, we're not glamorizing it.
Okay, so
I like to laugh at myself. I like to.
Happy haptics. I love you, dude. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a control issue.
Yeah.
It's a damage to the brain issue that causes it, and it's not glamorizing it or anything like that. It's simply a fact that when you've had a closed head trauma, that these things happen. There is no amount of discipline that you can recognize the symptoms and things like that and try to take the edge off of it. There's nothing that you're saying you had to learn it yourself. That's great, but it's a diagnosed thing, and it's in my record, and it's just one of those things that you can try, like, and that's why I'm saying, like, there's a lot of people that just like, shit, fucking cut myself.
There you go.
I fucking cut myself when I was trying to put that knife back in its sheath. When mine happens, I stop, drop, and roll.
There you go.
Stop what I'm doing. Drop any conversation, arguments. Get on my motorcycle and roll.
Go do your thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the best thing I found is I sharpen knives. It's a Zen thing for me. I can just turn my brain off. I don't turn my brain off. I don't have to think about what I'm doing, and I just let my brain go. And it's kind of a Zen meditation thing for me to just stand at my workbench and sharpen knives. And it's gotten better. Like I haven't had the cops called on me in a very, very long time.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I get, sure you can, there is a little bit of discipline. He's not completely wrong. I wouldn't completely disagree with Happy Haptics. It's just, man, when it comes on, what are you supposed to do? It's not something that happens all the time. You're not going to see me like flip out and smash one of my monitors like while we're doing this. It's a rare thing for me these days. And honestly, like I said, when I was working with her, that was something we focused on. Is like, I don't know, like I just need to mellow out a little bit. Like I was so like amped up after deployment and after I got out of the Army. And it took me like 4 or 5 years to finally lose a little bit of that military bearing that I carried with me. Like that was something that helped too.
That's a big one. So like I said, I retired 2009, and it was harder for me because I worked for the government I worked for the government until 2018. So the biggest thing for me was after I quit that job, because it was toxic. It was horrible for me.
Yeah.
I started smoking weed. As a matter of fact, like I was like sitting here making sure was like, okay, I don't want to put the sleepy time one in. I want we can still function and do a podcast one in. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the best things that has helped any of it. PTSD, the temper issues, pain control. So was it my Marine friend used to get really nervous in a line at Walmart, especially if there was a we're not talking about that. But yeah, I mean, I get it, and it's hard to explain to people. I
don't think they meant like dark skin, like as in American. I think, yeah. You know what? It's funny. Here in town, like all the gas stations are ran by like a Middle Eastern type people. I fucking love those people. They're like, I have no, like I remember I mentioned like initially I didn't like to be around them, but like now I go into the gas station, like these dudes, we're friends. I've done work for them. Like I trust them. I don't feel like, I used to kind of joke like, oh, they're probably just a terrorist, so they're waiting to get called up, so I should be nice to them, but it's not like that. They're like,
So one of the guys, I will say, one of the greatest examples of what America really stands for is the Somali dude that I know. His name's Muhammad. I call him Mo. He lived just down the hill from me before where we were at, before he moved up to a cheaper place. But he's a taxi driver, and that dude owned his taxi, and he drove literally 16 to 18 hours a day to support his family. He had 2 kids, and he would come over and like we made friends, and he would come over and he would sneak bacon sandwiches and drink beer because he's Muslim, and he's like, he's like, he'd ask me, can you make me a bacon sandwich? I was like, absolutely. And I was like, you're not supposed to eat this. He's like, I know, there's a reason it's a sin. And he'd wash it down with beer. But like this dude's kids started bad mouthing America. They were like the first generation immigrant Somali children. They're the first American born. And he was like, this country has given us everything we have. You need to stop. And they just kept telling us, look what this country's done to us and this and that. And so he bought them one-way tickets to Somalia with no support structure, put them on a plane, and they got off the plane in Somalia. No support structure, no family, nothing. They got enough money together like 2 weeks later
to come back.
To call him, to ask him to send money to send them back, crying. And he's like, I'll think about it, and waited a week. He left his kids on the streets of Somalia for 3 weeks to show them what the country had actually provided for him.
Dude,
those kids came back and they would not say shit unless they had a mouthful.
Oh, I bet. Like, I don't know how long you've been on Twitter. I think your account's pretty new. Were you on Twitter previously?
I've been on there for a while. I just got fed up and fucking stopped posting. I just now started posting.
Okay. So you know how people are. Like there's so many people, I don't, it's hard to not hold it against them, but like, I keep thinking I didn't have that kind of perspective. Like my first time out of the country, I went to Ecuador when I was like 19. I had never been out of the country, like I said, except for Canada. That's different. But to see a third world country and live in it for a couple months, like, you have a totally new perspective. I was not like anti-American, or I didn't hate America or anything like that. But man, you come back and you're like, it's a whole new perspective. Like, how much you appreciate this country.
I lived in Japan for 13 years. Like,
Okay.
I wound up back in the day, in the early 90s, if you joined the military and they sent you overseas, it was so much cheaper to keep you where you were if you were
Right.
re-upping.
Okay.
So if you were in Japan, because you're as far away as you can get, like, you went so far west or so far east, you wound up west. It was cheaper to keep you there than to send you back to the States. And so if you wanted to stay, which I enjoyed the commands, I enjoyed the environment, it was nice and quiet. But people are like, oh, Japan is so great, this and that. There's a lot of freedoms you give up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I like, some people are like, why don't you go, if you like Japan so much, why don't you like go back? Your in-laws are there, your father-in-law said he'd get you a job. You have no rights as a foreign national working in Japan. You have to have permission from the government to allow your spouse to buy property for you.
Wow.
And it's not in your name, it's in their name. You can't have a bank account. You have to have, it's a limited type of bank account you can have. And it's like for paying bills and rent and things like that. No firearms. And the fact is, I have a friend, one of my best friends, Quentin, he worked for the Japanese National Telecommunications Company, Nippon Telegram. It's called NTT, Nippon Telegraph and Telephone and Telegraph. And he was a supervisor. Like, he had crews that worked for him, and they did like, so when businesses would move into a building, they would do all the wiring up for the infrastructure for phones, internet, fiber optics, all that stuff. He supervised that, and he had guys that would come on as new employees that got paid more than him because he was Gaikokujin. He was a foreigner.
Oh.
And that's why after 20 years, he worked for that company for 20 years and kept getting passed over for promotion, even though he was such a high performing employee. He said, fuck it. And he came back to the States and started as the lowest level employee for a communications company in Arizona. And now he is a supervisor there as well. So everybody thinks that there are so many better countries, and there really aren't.
No, that's not even like being a nationalist. That's just, dude, my co-host lives in Germany because his wife's still in the military. But whatever you did just got rid of that hum for a second.
I was trying something new. Is it gone? Is it back?
It's not gone now. Whatever you eat for a second, it was gone. Yeah.
I disconnected and reconnected the live cord.
We would have started this podcast like months ago, except it took months to get internet there for him. That's just an amenity. Like, for us, like, I can go to the Spectrum store and get a box for internet and have it plugged in and be on the internet in an hour. Yeah.
He's in Germany? Yeah. Oh, in Japan, people are like, what do you mean? Like, because I was talking about going to Japan. I went a few years ago, and it was kind of hard to keep an upload schedule. Like, I was there for like a month and a half. It was when I still worked for the government, so I had all kinds of time off.
Right.
And people were like, why is it so hard for you to upload? And I was like, you don't understand. High-speed internet is like crazy expensive in Japan.
I'll bet.
Like, to get internet, it's not like a common thing. No one has got an unlimited data plan on their phones. No one. Like, that's stupid expensive. And first world country, but there's still a lot of third world left in Japan.
Oh yeah.
It really is. So, and a lot of it has to do with change. A lot of it has to do with putting infrastructure into areas. Like, my wife's family lives outside of a fairly good sized city. But they live outside, and it's an old area. And so the problem is that there's so many rules about not defacing these old neighborhoods, the traditional facade, the grounds, the gardens, the cemeteries everywhere. And they just, like, it's hard to get the infrastructure.
That I can understand that. I mean,
don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, and I wouldn't want to screw it up either. But it's just, it goes along the lines of thing, like, if someone's like, if you're going to build a new building and there's houses around, if there's a view, like my in-laws' house, you can see this one great big Buddha. It's like the second largest Buddha in Japan from their yard. if somebody wants to build a building and it happens to obstruct that view, they have to have their permission.
Oh, wow.
And they have to have permission from everybody there that has that same view if it's going to block it. So it's a completely different culture when it comes to like there's some things where they're really great about it, like how they look at treating everyone. Like, that's my view. Okay, well, you have to have their permission before you obstruct their view. But then there's other things where they just don't give a shit about you at all.
I don't like Ecuador is, besides Afghanistan, Ecuador is another country I've been in, and where I was, like, I was with rich people. Like, they were so I had an exchange student from Ecuador, like when I was a senior, which was awesome, having a hot Spanish chick staying in my house for a year.
That's good.
We won't get into it. Then I go back with her.
What a fucking hardship.
Yeah, it was rough. It was so rough. So, I go back, and her dad was like a doctor, and they lived on a hill in Quito.
Yeah.
And they had, I think I lived better there and under those circumstances than I do in America. But that's because they had servants. They had people that are making your food. I mean, like, I woke up every morning, and, like, my outfit was laid out and, like, ironed. And I'm like, wow, I've never had my clothes ironed before. That's totally different. But then we go into the city, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, we were, like, walking around. There was these kids, and one of them came up to me. They could tell I'm an American. Like, it's obvious, right? And they were just like, oh, these little ratty kids, right? And I was, oh, here's $1. Man, 50 of them swore me after that. Yeah. And it was the most bizarre thing.
It's like that in India. I've been to India a couple times. Ship pulled in. I went to India. And, yeah, you can't, like, it sounds cold-hearted, but you can't give a kid on the street anything. Because they won't leave you the fuck alone. Like, there'll be 100. They'll be around you like you're a fucking rock star.
Yeah. I felt bad. Yeah, exactly. Nobody told me. I learned the hard way. That's what you do.
I found out in the Philippines. That's where I found out. But yeah, I've been to India, and we had a new kid. We had a new kid on the ship, and he reaches in his pocket. I was like, no. Nope. They saw you reaching. You're fucked now. And he's like, what? And I was like, well, you're on your own now. Like, you're fucking, until you can, like, just tell them you don't have any money. Like, fucking hide some shit, turn your pockets out, and they'll fucking disappear. I was like, I'll be over here eating. It's gonna take you a little bit.
There was a story I told on one of the podcasts about a guy. We were in a village, and he decided to take a dump in an MRE bag and give it to these kids, right? Well, they put their hand in it, right? And then they were going truck to truck, right? And I opened my door, and they were like, hey, mister, they want to shake my hand. And I shook their hand, right? Comms come over. Hey, you just touched my shit. And I'm like, what? So I walk over. I go get out of the vehicle, go over. What the fuck are you talking about? And he told me what he did. I was, we didn't have any hand sanitizer. It was luckily there was snow on the ground. I put my hands in the snow and, like, clean them off. I didn't even notice. Like, everybody was dirty there. It was so wild, weird. But everybody was dirty, so you wouldn't have known anyways, unless I was told. So.
Well, that's like not showering for like showering or cleaning your clothes for like weeks on end. Eventually, you reach a point where like you can't smell it anymore.
No, it's like going like I see like you ever go to like an all-day concert, like I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
you're in the mosh pit all day. Yeah, that's what, exactly. Thank you. Yeah,
I'm an old dude, but I still go to work towards.
Yeah, you get out of that constant environment, get back in your car, and you're like, I don't smell. I could smell myself earlier, but now you eventually just start sweating out like natural, like, you get all the toxins out of you, and then the smell goes away.
No, you just can't smell it anymore. Like, I guarantee
maybe
everyone else can smell you.
Oh, I bet. Well, I had the luxury
I remember my uniforms. I remember taking my uniforms off and then smelling like I had pissed myself because there's so much urea and everything coming out through your sweat that, like, you stop pissing. Like, I'm like, I haven't pissed all day. And I'm like, shit, I got fucking, you're drinking water, but you just haven't pissed because your body's just sweating it all out. I fucking hate it. That was, I was in the deepwater port in Kuwait. It's called Shuaibah. It's down near Kuwaiti Naval Base. It's right on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border. But it's right on the water. and it's so incredibly hot and humid. So like you never dry off. You're fucking constantly wet. And then the next thing you know, you like take your uniform off because we do 3 days at the Deepwater Port, and then we go back to Camp Freedom. And so you like back and forth. You like take your uniform off in your tent. You're like, what the fuck? I didn't piss myself. What the fuck? Did I piss myself while I was sleeping? Nope. Just
No,
sweating.
and it stands up too. You know, it's like starch in it.
Yeah. It's fucking like your fucking deserts are like. I was like, why does it look like my deserts got bleached? And you're like, oh, it's salt.
Yeah. That
Salt.
I remember that in basic. Basic was like I was in Georgia, and it was the summertime, like April through July, like the hottest fucking time of the year, and you know, we're hitting 100 degrees. And then go to Fort Knox in Kentucky. You're from Ohio. It's the same situation.
It's fucking horrible in this.
Hot, humid, muggy.
If I go home, I try to shoot for spring or fall because I don't want either of the other bastard seasons. Like, you know, like it's 10 degrees below zero and spitting snow, and then it's 97 degrees and 92% humidity. I'm like, fucking pick one, Ohio.
Yeah, it's we had a hot spell like a couple weeks ago, and luckily I moved the week before, but it's still hot as fuck. But yeah, I mean, now it's like nice. It hasn't been humid at all for like last week. So
I think right now outside it's like 66 degrees. I'm close enough to the ocean. I moved like 6 miles closer to the ocean pretty much from where I moved. I moved diagonally from our old house, and it, like, I guarantee today it was probably 84, 85. It was like 73, 74 here because I'm like at the most 2 or 3 miles from the ocean.
But no humidity in San Diego, right?
It's humid here because you're right on the water.
They always said San Diego doesn't have a humidity.
If you're inland, because it's desert. But like I said, like literally, I could walk to the ocean from here, from the house. It wouldn't take me very long. It'd take me about as long to walk to the border as it does to the ocean.
Damn,
which is
right there,
about 25 or 30 minutes, maybe. But yeah, we're right here, cool. And so you get that onshore breeze, and it's a little bit more humid during the day, but it's not as hot. It's nowhere near as hot.
Okay,
and I've had it 86, 87 out here in the garage trying to shoot and film live feeds, and I'm like, I think I may die.
Oh, so you do all your shit in the garage?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've turned it into a studio / workshop.
That's cool.
I got the TV on the wall, and I did a shop tour on my YouTube channel. But
I just subbed to you. Like I think I found you yesterday in like Quartering's comments. So yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Quartering's comments, guys. I was on Jeremy's on the Quartering. All I want to do is thank him for, and I didn't think he'd read it. Like I wanted to thank him because he retweeted a couple of my posts. I was like, oh. Cool. And so he and I go on his live, and I was in the comments, and he read my fucking comment, and I was like, you know what? So I joined his channel. I'm a channel member now. I joined the cheapest. Oh, cool. I joined the cheapest one. I figured, like, you know what? I have people that support my channel. Mm-hmm. I can afford to support a couple of the others.
Yeah, and say what you will about Jeremy, but like, he's always been like, it seems like a decent dude to me. Like, there's other people out there where you're like, oh, I don't know about that guy. I don't know if I'd want to. But Jeremy seems like the type of dude that, I wouldn't mind having a beer with him, hanging out at the bar. Yeah. And that's what matters more to me than like maybe the content. I don't like. He does some of the shit. I'm like, who cares about that stuff, right? Yeah. But then again, there's some good stuff on him.
Business. It's a business. I do a lot of knives on this channel that I'm like, I really don't like this knife all that much. But I got to find good points and bad points. Mm-hmm. Because this is, like I said, this is what I do. I do basically 3 videos a day. I do 2 full-length videos and a short, or I do a live feed, a full-length video and a short. But
how do the shorts perform for you? Because when I was on the gaming channel shit, I would get like 3,000-4,000 views, and then all of a sudden they started dwindling when I put a short out.
They'll hit 1,000, and then they peak across for a while, and then they'll pump back up again. I've got one that just hit like 36,000 views in the last like 18 days. But the shorts for a YouTube channel, the shorts aren't really, like Jeremy was talking about, like, oh, they want me to do short form content, and I wanted to, like, he was ending the feed before I got a chance to comment on it. But the short form comment, the shorts are like, think of them as like an appetizer for a channel. So I have never put up a short where I did not get, once I start putting up shorts, Like I just hit 8,000 subscribers like last week. I'm at 8,300 now. It took me a year to get from 6,000 to 7,000. And I went from 7,000 to 8,000 in I went basically from 6,000 to 8,000 in half the time it took me to get from 6,000 to 7, from 5,000 to 6,000. I mean,
and shorts
and
help.
now the shorts, because what the shorts do is if you do it in the right way, you're going to just kind of tease them enough that they want some more content and they're going to follow the channel to catch it. And all you have to do is like subscribe for more. We're going to talk about this in a future video, things like that. It's like do a short where you're announcing who your guests are and things like that. It drives the subscribers, because like there's no way that a lot of channels are going to get in an hour 1,000, 2,000 views on something.
Right.
But if you do a short, you can, and all you have to do is basically like find some way to drive them to your channel.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking of like, what can I do with shorts on my channel? But yeah, I also do like a little bit of narration. I don't know how my voice sounds right now. It's kind of harsh and raspy. I've done a couple podcasts this week already, long ones. I can, like, I started writing down, I love writing, and I started writing down my stories from the Army, and I started narrating them, and people like it. So I'm like trying to write out more.
Look at Mr. Ballin. Look at John.
Yeah,
John's
yeah,
channel.
exactly.
That's what he started, just narrating, because military guys, we got a knack at telling a story.
Oh yeah,
That's what you do when you're bored.
Right.
It's not, what do you do? Watch that movie like the 1,000th time? No, you're going to tell stories about shit that happened at other commands.
Right.
And you embellish, and you steal stories that other people tell you that are funny, and you add them in, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's I help out a very large YouTube channel. It's called What Lurks Beneath. He does storytelling of like cryptid stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know him really well. And he kind of encouraged me to like do story. He's like, dude, your voice, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Hopefully my voice sounds okay. But he's like, dude, you gotta tell stories. He's like, you gotta tell stories, man. Your voice is awesome. I'm like, okay, whatever. I hate my voice. I hate hearing it, but
Aiden says you'd be perfect for creepypasta. Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
that would be doing creepypasta.
Yeah. Wait, because I'm creepy, or
I'm creepy and I like pasta. I didn't know what creepypasta was. I'm not gonna lie, I'm old.
I didn't either.
There's some things that I'm up to date on because of the YouTube thing, and like I'm not that old guy. Like I've no joke. My daughter came out into the garage. She walked in here a couple weeks ago, and I was out here and I was changing the studio from podcast to film video, and then go back to turn it into a workshop for sharpening knives. And so I'm out here, I was listening to Ludacris and I was dancing, and she came out and she looked at me and just like jaw dropped. Like, she's like, I didn't know you could dance. And I was like, babe, like I was going to clubs to meet women before I met your mother. Like I had to, she's like, I know, but and then she looks at me and she's almost insulting when she says, she's like, I just didn't expect you to be good at it.
Right.
Like, fuck you.
How old is she?
She's turns 15 in October. So she just started, this is one that made me feel old. She just started her 10th grade year. She just did the enrollment for her. I'm like, I'm the father to a sophomore in high school.
Dude, I just had some friends, their daughters were graduating a couple years ago. Yeah. Like I went to school with these guys and I'm like, God, I feel old.
Well, I said that, and I told my friend that story about my kid. I was like, it makes me feel old.
Yeah.
And he reminded me that on boot camp leave, the girl I was dating while I was in when I was boot camp at A school, while I was at my secondary school, I was dating this girl.
Okay.
So A school is like if you have an MOS.
Yeah, what we'd call AIT in the Army. Yeah.
Yeah, so you go, and it's like I learned all my specialties because I was a weapons guy. So I had to learn small arms, I had to learn electronics, I had to learn pneumatics, and electrical solid state. And I mean, it's like it's a year-long school before I even go to my first shift. And the girl I was dating at the time back home, because I was driving. It's like 10 hours from Chicago to our house down there. Yeah. And so I would drive on weekends because I had a car and I'd drive down on the weekends I could. Well, right before I left for Japan, I came home for a 30-day leave, and she got pregnant and never told me.
Oh, by you, right?
Yeah, I have a 28-year-old son.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like I joke about it. He goes, "How old's your boy now?" I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't know."
Yeah, he's 28.
She married a guy that I knew, and he was a great dude. He adopted the kid. She was pregnant when they got married.
Oh wow.
And no, she had just had the kid when they got married. The kid was like, they started dating like right after I left. And so he adopted the kid. The kid never came looking to me for anything. When we talk about it, he calls me Mike. I call him by his name. And I'm like, how's your mom and dad? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not weird because they really did raise him and they did a really good job of it. But I asked her when I found out, I was like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, you would have gave up what you have to do what you thought was the right thing. And she was like, there's no way our relationship was going to go as long as my current marriage. She's like, you would have ruined both of our lives. And she's like, it just seemed like a better thing to do.
That sounds like a hell of a woman, though, too.
Yeah,
most women,
great.
they want to, catch you for for child child payments, whatever.
Support?
Child support. Yeah,
never asked me for anything. She didn't even want me to know the kid was around. She's great, and we ended our relationship on amicable terms, so that made it even easier.
Right.
For me to be like, oh, okay. I wish she had told me, but she's probably right. Growing up the way I grew up and the amount of my father that's in me, I'd have been like, well, I guess I'm not going to shoot. I'm going to have to find some way to get out of the Navy, or I would have married her and took her with me, and it would have just been miserable.
They don't set up the military for. I think it's better for single people.
Yeah.
Like they always said, we didn't issue you a wife or a kid at CIF.
I waited until I was in E6 when I got married. I was already like, I wasn't one of those guys. Like I was having too much fun. Like
you were one of those guys that like wanted to get out of the barracks so bad, or
well, I lived on a ship, so I had a place to live.
Oh yeah, okay.
And there's in Japan, there's so many bars, and bars are open all night, every night. And so I'd just go out, get drunk, and if I picked up a chick, I'd go to what are called love hotels, and you just pay. You can pay by the hour, or you can pay by the night. And I can't tell you how many times for like $40, you get a room for the night.
That ain't bad.
It's nice. It's fucking really nice. But yeah, you just go and you do that if you're going with a chick. And I mean, not gonna lie, I've went drunk by myself to a love hotel just because I wanted a place to sleep other than the ship. But yeah, I mean, I would have went there, and being 18, just turned 18, because I was 17 when I joined the military.
Okay.
I would have still wanted to go out and hang out with the guys, and it just that's what would have happened. I still would have done those things, and it just would have been fucked.
Right.
So, and then I met my wife, and I was out on a date with another girl after I'd met my wife, and I was like, I wonder what she's doing. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's over. It's all done.
Yep.
Stick a fork in me. Like, if I'm with a girl and I'm wondering,
you're thinking about another one, yeah.
Another one, I was like, that's the sign. And we've been married for this year's 21 years.
Oh.
So
I've never been married. I thought I had a kid there in Kentucky, but yeah, it's not for me at all. Like, I got too much other shit going on to worry about that right now.
Before I met my wife, and I was just too selfish to offer anyone anything. I hate to say it. Everything about was instant gratification. What can I get? But that's because of the life you live. Like it's a dangerous job. You're gone for weeks on end. You're on a ship with only guys. I want to get my rocks off. I want to get a beer. I want to do my stuff. Fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was way too selfish to have gotten married at that point in my life.
For sure. Like, what? I don't even know. I'm trying to put myself in your position, like where thinking about being on it. I don't think I could do it. Like, I can go on a fishing trip for a day, and then that whole, that feeling when you get off the boat and you can still feel like you're swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
Dude, that just drives me insane.
When the ship would pull in, we'd be in formation. Like usually we'd have like after the ship pulls back in after like a deploy, we'd be gone for like 2-3 months, maybe 6-8 weeks. You'd always have like everybody wants to go home, see their family or their girlfriend, and so you all muster up. You're in formation on the pier, and you could just see it. You could watch it happen. If you were facing like somewhere, if you were up on the ship and not part, like you had duty, you're not part of the formation. You would look down. And as you would stand there, you could just see the entire ranks
going back and forth,
and they're like in time because you're with the guy in front of, and they're just rocking back and forth on dry ground.
That'd be. I don't think I don't know. Was Dramamine something they passed out a lot?
I've never been seasick. I've been in some of the roughest seas ever. Like we set a record on my ship getting from Korea back to, or not Korea. We were off the coast of Australia back to Japan. We set a speed record for that run, and we went through 2 typhoons, which are hurricanes.
Yeah.
Shot right through them. We went right through them. Still set a speed record getting from. We were around the Darwin area, so the northern provinces.
Okay.
To off the coast of Japan, in between Korea for missile avoidance. We had to do the missile guard stuff because we had the missiles for it, like the Patriots, only on a ship. And so we made a record run. We made a speed record of in time, how fast we got there, and amount of fuel burned by one vessel in a 24-hour period.
It only took 24 hours to get from there to back to, wow. That's pretty impressive.
We were at cavitation speeds. That's when the propellers are going so fast that they cavitate. Okay. Like, which you never do. They were at like flank speed. And I'm sure that the engineers were down there giving us some extra turns. So, I mean, we were well beyond the publicized speed of that vessel. And we were going through, like, there was literally in my 5-inch gun system, which is, it's an 80 millimeter mortar is basically what it is. Or, okay. I'm sorry, it's a 105. It's a 105 howitzer, or 155 howitzer. So it's a 5-inch bore. And it's on a ship, and it's controlled. We were going so far. The front of the ship was going so far underwater. My forward mount, we were up there with pumps, pumping water out because it was coming through the barrel and just flooding the space.
What was the reason behind going like that fast? Like, was it just for the hell of it?
No, Korea. So this was an actual real world. Korea threatened to launch a missile. Korea was doing a missile test, and North Korea, and we would go because South Korea was always afraid that they say they're going to do a missile test, but they're going to fire an actual missile, and that was always our job. There was a handful of ships, but we were the guided missile cruisers, so we had the missiles on board, and so we would have to haul ass to Korea to do missile prevention, like missile intercept.
Oh, okay.
And we were the only ship that was available to do it that time. And they were like, yeah, you've got to get there now. And in 24 hours, we went from the southern hemisphere across the equator and in between Japan and Korea, just south of Russia. So we covered a lot of fucking distance. It might have been 48, but I keep wanting to say that they said it was a 24-hour record. So we covered a lot of distance.
Distance in a single day, yeah. But
yeah, that might be because I just remember that we were running balls out for what felt like forever.
I want to pull up the map on my phone. I'm pretty good with yeah, that's pretty far.
It's pretty far. Yeah, it was bad. So we went through these storms, and you could literally, after the storm passed, for like the 5 or 6 hours that we made that transit through those 2 storms that were stacked right on our shortest course. When we had to clean, you could see, because there's so much water that had come on through various areas, because the ship was literally going underwater in these storms. And you could see footprints going down the middle, but you also saw footprints on the bulkhead, on the wall, because there were times the ship would roll and you'd be standing with 1 foot on the floor and 1 foot in the corner.
Oh, wow.
Because that's where down was.
Good Lord. I couldn't do it. More power to you.
It's a blast. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I was like,
I like the ground, man. I don't even like flying. I hate fucking flying. So I like being on the earth.
I'm not a fan of flying.
Yeah. We'd have to do like inserts with a Chinook sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You felt like you were just a moving target for some RPG.
That's big. That's why.
Well, and you know what? There were times where you've heard helicopters flying over, right? It never really dawned on me, like, how the fuck did they know we were here when we inserted like 2-3 miles away? Oh, because you can hear the fucking helicopter that far away. Like, we thought we were being stealthy or so. I don't know what,
Yeah.
We thought we were just going in under the cover of the night or something like that. They're not gonna know we're here.
Nah, there's no fucking way that we're coming in this fucking monster of a fucking double prop fucking tail opening fucking goddamn, it's a fucking city bus with fucking propellers.
Yeah, it is. And when they take off, you could feel it, like the hull bending.
Yeah, I've been in it. I've been in
Oh
it.
man, that is the
whole thing
worst.
bends.
That is the worst, especially if you're on one end or one of the other ends.
Or when you're when you're going somewhere and you catch wind, but it doesn't hit the whole helicopter, so you feel the front end of the helicopter, the back end of the helicopter go like, is this thing going in two directions? What the fuck is like a car with a loose back end? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
You can feel the front end and the back end doing something different. You're like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to fly one either. That'd freak me the fuck out, man.
I don't know. Yeah, but you mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And then that's when I remembered that they'll catch wind and the front and the back feel like they're going different directions. You're like, oh no, fuck, I don't want to die.
I was already squeezing my ass on when we were sitting on them. I mean, maybe that happened. I don't recall it, but I know the feeling when you started mentioning like a back end of a car. Like, yeah, no thanks, no thanks, no thank you.
The worst thing I ever
sky drifting.
Yeah, sky drifting. I just saw that. Worst thing I ever rode on. My wife had a miscarriage, and I stayed behind because she was getting out of the hospital and stuff. And the ship got underway, and I had to fly out to the ship. But the ship was far enough away; they couldn't just helo me straight out. They had to fly me to the aircraft carrier and then helo me to my ship. And I had to ride on they call it the CAD. It's a flight that goes out, and it's like a prop plane, and they're landing it. It's not a good one either. It's like what you're expecting, like holy shit, like fucking from Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom with like the fucking chickens and shit in it. That's what it's like. And you're in this jump seat, and you're facing back, and they land this bitch on the fucking aircraft carrier. And they're not real good at it because the first time the first and only time I ever did this, he missed the fucking hook. Like he didn't catch the cable.
Oh,
and
God.
you feel the plane like, because we skipped down, he missed the hook, and he was like, and you feel the plane like drop off the end of the boat. You're like, we're going in the fucking water. You're like, we're going in the fucking water. That's all there is to it. And then it takes off and it has to circle back around.
Dude, I had to shit myself.
You couldn't get a greased needle up my ass with a jackhammer that day.
That's like when you take off. The worst, when you take off on a plane and you start to go up, right? In Ecuador, so Quito, like where the airport was, it was like next to a mountain, right? So when you're coming in, you'd have to like really go, at a really steep angle. So when you're going out was worse because it was daytime. I couldn't see at night, obviously, when we came in, but going out at night, it was just like straight up, almost. It was. I just hate flying, man. Like I spent all the time getting overseas. I spent sleeping. Like when we were on planes, I just hated it.
I have to get really high before I get on a plane.
You would be, yeah.
Yeah, I have to. Like, and then like if I'm flying to Japan to visit the in-laws, I've done it enough times that takeoff and landing is what gets me. Like once we're in the air, I'm not too bad unless there's turbulence. But like, if you're going that far, the thing is you have to know what time you're going to land. So if you're going to land in the morning, you sleep on the flight. If you're going to land at night, you stay up for the entire 16, 17-hour flight, watch movies and shit. So I've gotten to where I can do it. I was thinking about going back with them the last time they went to Japan for a month. And I was like, I don't want to fly that far. I don't want to fly that far right now.
I don't blame you. I can't stand it, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. I try not to go anywhere that I have to fly. If I can't drive, I ain't going at this point in my life.
Okay, I have to ask you, have
Sure.
you went and had a Dagwood sandwich since you've been back?
A what?
The Dagwood, that great big fucking sandwich that they have in Columbus.
Are you talking about
it's on Man versus Food.
Thurman? Thurman Burger? Oh,
Thurman
yeah.
Burger, but Thurman Burger, you can get the Thurman Burger, but you can get the big Dagwood, which is the deli sandwich. There's another place there. Yeah.
But no, I haven't had that. I've had the Thurman quite a few times. That's over in Gerbil Village.
Yeah. Did you get the really spicy one?
No, I just get the regular hamburger, like cheeseburger. The fries aren't great.
I've been there.
They're a
The
little
fries
greasy, but the burger's
fries aren't great.
excellent.
Yeah, the fries aren't great. It's like In and out here. Like everybody's like, oh, the burgers are really good, but the French fries. People argue with me. I was like, those French fries are fucking trash. Like if you can eat them, like the second they come out and they're still hot, you're like, yep, those are okay.
Yeah.
Those are still bottom level fries, but they're tolerable. You let them get a little bit cold, you're like, may as well just throw these away.
Okay, I'm gonna look for where this is. Oh, it's not. I mean,
I can't remember the name of the deli.
what hell?
It might have been in
DeBella's? DeBella's? Does that sound right?
What?
There's like 3 DeBellas in town, or 2 of them. One in Dublin, one in Short North. That's the only thing that came up for that Dagwood.
Yeah, it might be a chain, but yeah, they do. It's like a deli. They make these huge sandwiches.
I'll have to check it out. Like Thurman. I'm gonna say that it was over $20 just for the burger.
Yeah. We got a place out here that does 50-50. Slater's 50-50. It's the burgers they make are half ground bacon, half ground beef.
Oh man.
Yeah, and on the 4th of July, you can get a Slater's 4th of July burger, which is 100% ground bacon. And I'm not gonna lie, I have went for the 4th of July and had myself that, and it's delicious. But for about 3 hours, your heart is beating like you're squeezing out a sponge. You're like, I just ate a 1/4 pound bacon burger with bacon and bacon
it doesn't.
flavor.
It doesn't sound like that much, right?
Ketchup, and it doesn't, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
No, three-quarter pound.
Okay, but you think what's a pound? You know,
the smallest burgers they make are a half pound, and the 4th of July burger only comes in 3/4 pounds.
You got me hungry now.
That's nuts.
It's too late to go anywhere at this point to go get something to eat. I have to fix something later on. It's almost midnight here.
Yeah, I've got some munchies going on. I'm probably gonna walk up this corner to the bodega.
A foxhole kind of guy.
Oh, so do you know about the foxhole in Warsaw, Ohio, just outside of Coshocton? Have you heard the story?
No.
Okay, so there is a church in Warsaw, Ohio, that basically has been protesting outside of the Foxhole Strip Bar in Warsaw, Ohio. First strip bar in Ohio that I ever visited. I went after, I came home and I'd already been overseas. This place is a shithole. It looks like somebody had a barn with like the side long storeroom from end to end, and then tore down the barn, but left the rest of it. I'll pull up a picture.
While you're at it, pull up a picture of River Girls. I don't know just River Girls strip club in Kentucky. Check that out too.
I can tell you honestly, I don't think I even need the picture because I'm pretty sure that I have it.
No, the outside of the building is pink. Was when it's closed down now, but it was pink, like a bright pink. Like Barbie pink.
Okay. We'll see. Okay, we'll pull yours up first.
I'll have to.
Strip bar now closed.
There should be there's a really good picture of it. And chat, you should check it out too.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it should be like if you type in River Girls Kentucky. Oh yeah, it's real nice. Real classy. Let me tell you. That was where we went when I had my buddy on tonight.
You said your butt, and I'm like,
no.
Your buddy did what now?
No. My buddy and I went there one night, and I actually just had him on the podcast tonight. We talked about it a little bit, not too much.
I don't see. I'm seeing like strippers. I see clubs of Kentucky.
Type in River Space Girls Kentucky, like space in between all the words, and then It'll be the first picture in the images. If you just like,
River Girls Lounge, Knob Creek, Kentucky.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, guys, hang on.
yeah, you guys see this place,
We'll pull it up. We'll pull up the picture.
and it's great because that picture was taken. I know it wasn't one of the pictures I took of it because I was in California at the time when that picture. It was August 13th, 2010. But it's just it's a high class place.
Okay, I'll show you. Okay, you guys get to vote, and most everybody's already seen the foxhole. So which is a little bit lower rent place? That one, or let's pull this up here. The foxhole. Shocking.
There you go, Freedom Fox. The strip club in his town's pink. There's something about pink strip clubs. I don't know. We weren't allowed to go to this place either. Like, it was one of those places where if CID caught you, or if anybody caught you, CID is like NCIS in the Navy.
Yeah, I know what CID is.
Like,
I had to deal with those fucking assholes.
Fucking wannabe cops. Sorry if anybody out there was CID, but fuck you. A bunch of wannabe fucking cops that couldn't hack it in the real world. So if they caught you, you were busted. You were fucked.
Yeah, fuck. This picture's not coming up. Wow, shit. This will work. Well, we can pull it up.
The pink poodle in Phoenix. That sounds great.
So everybody vote. Which is the lower rent place? Here's the foxhole in Coshocton, Ohio. It's the one up here in the right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord. Like you were not kidding. It's a barn.
Yeah, it used to be. You can see that it's like it used to be part of a barn, and then they just tore down the rest of the barn. And I'm looking at it, I was like, up under here, are those like mine jacks that they're using to hold this place up?
Probably. That place was probably moved. Maybe it was moved, and they just sat it down onto those blocks. I don't know. That place.
I saw. My dad tells me he was talking about somebody with somebody about the foxhole. It was one of my friends. I was home. I would leave, and they were like, and they talk about the foxhole, and I'm like, the foxhole. My dad's like, you never heard that? Like, you lived here and you never heard your mother and I talking about it? I was like, no, what? And he's like, for years, literally a decade or more, there has been a church that has been protesting the Foxhole Strip Bar in Warsaw. Now, I heard all that, but the only thing that my brain registered was that there was a fucking strip bar in Warsaw, Ohio, which is just around the corner. And I'm like, why am I not there? Why am I talking to you guys? And I looked at my buddy, and he was like, huh? Yeah, it's still open. Mm-hmm. And so he, like, my buddy's there, and I look at him, and I was like, you knew this? And he goes, yeah. I was like, why the fuck aren't we already there? And he goes, bro, like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah. He goes, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I do want to go. He drove me because I didn't have a car. I had already sold I lived in Japan. And he's like, whole time, he's like, you sure you wouldn't just rather go down to 9th Street and have a couple beers? And I was like, no, I want to go to a fucking strip bar. And we pull up, and I see the building, and I'm like, oh. We've driven out here when we could have went to 9th Street Tavern and had a cold beer. And so we go in, and it is fucking the nastiest Midwest Ohio, from a town that, like, there's 600 people and 3 last names. No distinct description. They're just fucking half, like, there's a chromosomal issue going on, and they're naked.
Wow.
And I'm like, I fucking need a beer. And he goes, you can't buy beer here. I'm like,
you have to bring it with you?
I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, it's like a BYOB place. You pay the strippers, you pay the entry, you can drink whatever you bring. And I'm like, why the fuck why am I just finding out these rules? And so the girl that was checking us in, because I don't know if she's like, you can go right across the street to Tony's, right across the street, and buy beer. So there's a little convenience store, like right across the street. The guy that owns the Foxhole
owns that gas station or whatever convenience store. Yeah. That's
and since you know this, in Ohio, if there's full nudity, you can't sell alcohol.
You know what? I've never been to a full nude in Ohio. The closest I've came was, and it's closed now too. Fuck, the harem in Dayton.
I know what you're talking about.
They got shut down because they were like all kinds of like it was like a drug running place or something like that.
It's been like that for years.
Yeah, well, the time I went there for my buddy's bachelor party, and I mean there was more girls to guys on that floor. Like that place was packed, and you could have we sat down. We were a group of 4 guys. We just came back from a Reds game, and we had like 6, 7 girls sitting on our laps on the table, like surrounding us. That was how many girls to guys there was in that place. It was crazy. That River Girls, we go in there. There's 2 girls there, right? And the one's like really skinny, crackhead, looks like Skeletor, right? The other one, she's good looking, and for whatever reason, my buddy took to that Skeletor girl. Well, okay, check this out. I had this dude, a friend of mine who was a mortician in the Army. He wanted to go to River Girls with me one night. I'm like, all right, we'll go. 2 days later, I get a phone call from an unknown number. I picked it up. It's Skeletor. That motherfucker gave her my number. She's like, I don't have anywhere to live right now. I got kicked out of my I don't know if she said boyfriend's or friend's house, right? Can I come stay with you? And I'm like, how'd you get my number?
Who the fuck is this?
And she goes, well, she knew who I was because I've been in there a few times and I talked to her. And she's like, oh, your buddy.
I've been there a few times.
A few times means like
way of saying like I basically paid rent.
Yeah, basically. I probably fed
just wanted to clear it up for any of you guys that weren't in the military.
Pretty much. So I'm like, we couldn't have like people stay over in our barracks. I'm like, the best I could do, you can come hang out. And she's like, I'll give you whatever I would do in the strip club to you for free if I can just stay with you. I'm like, I'm not risking getting kicked out. I'm on my way out already. I'm getting med boarded, right? I'm like, oh, that'd be great. Just fuck up my med board because I wanted to have a stripper live with me for a week.
I mean, you do, but like, it's not a good life choice. I told somebody that like dating a stripper is like eating a loud bag of chips in church. People are going to look at you disapprovingly, but deep down inside, they want some of them fucking chips.
I don't know that you'd want that chip.
No, maybe not. Well, that's the same thing with that Foxhole strip bar. It was like if fucking Aiden said, you had the Holy Trinity. He's saying amputee. I'm like, they did.
Oh yeah.
At one place I went to, but yeah, like the fucking bullet wounds, C-section scars, and cigarette burns. Fucking.
Isn't that a West Side Connection song? You know what West Side Connection is, right?
Yeah.
There was some. I can't remember the name of the song. What the name of the song was now? They all sound the same to me. They all sound the same.
That place is bad. That place in Ohio is bad. Right? And like the whole thing is like once she told me that you could go across the street, and I found out that the guy I was like, he's got it unlocked because like, he's got naked chicks that you're paying $20 to go in. It's $20, and then you get your hand stamped, you're in and out. Actually, it was $20 for the 2 of us. It was like $10 each.
Oh, 2 for 1.
And so, but you could go right across the street and buy the beer, and they had both kinds of Busch. That's all they had.
Yeah.
Like
that's all you need.
Gas station. You've been to those gas stations, in Ohio, where the only thing they have is Busch and Busch Light. Like that's the only beer, and I'm like, how the fuck does this happen?
I mean, that's like even. I'm trying to think. That's about an hour and a half away from me. I might have to grab my buddy and take a little trip up to Warsaw. Like, hey, we'll check it out, and I'll let you know if we ever do.
If you go on a Friday, I guarantee the church is going to be protesting. They protest I think they protest Friday nights, and I mean it's like a schedule. They're protesting on like Friday nights and like Saturday and Sunday during the day.
What are they so mad about?
I'm from the Bible Belt, bro. It's like a Baptist church around the corner.
Oh, well,
you know how the Bible thumpers where we're at in Ohio are. Like they're horrible.
They're
fucking horrible.
Kentucky.
They make everyone's life miserable.
Yes.
I mean, I'm religious, but for fuck's sake,
me too.
I'm not churchy.
Yeah, and I wouldn't protest strip clubs.
But
like that's a job. That's a job for the girls when they graduate from school. You pick up a couple of them because they're not going to college, they're not doing anything with their life. They go get a job. It's a great place.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, take your buddy and don't warn him. Like take him, Warsaw is about an hour and a half from you. It's like out my direction, Coshocton, Warsaw area.
You're out by Mount Vernon, right?
Yeah, it's on the way from Coshocton to Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
And while you're in Mount Vernon, you can go to the steakhouse there with the all you can eat buffet, the Ryan's Steakhouse.
I was thinking they had a place like that in Marion too.
Yeah, they do. It's probably Ryan's.
It's gone now, but they used to. Yeah.
Yeah, they had you order your steak and stuff, and then you always got like the super buffet. And I'm like, Jesus Christ! All we'd ever get was a salad bar. We'd drive literally an hour to go to Ryan's and just only eat the salad bar. I'm like, fuck, you don't need anything else.
Yeah, that's true. That's like Golden Corral isn't a good place anymore, but yeah,
it's not
at all.
But take your buddy and don't give him any warning. They may have changed how they do it. It might not be fully nude now because this was fucking 1999.
Oh wow!
When I was there for that, and my dad was like, "I can't believe you never heard us talk about that." And I was like, "I can't believe that I was not informed of the fact that there's a strip bar within driving distance."
Yeah,
I mean it's far. Where I'm out in the country, there's not many. But yeah, that church is always protesting it. Constantly.
And they're gonna do it. You should be a Ohio tour guide. Patina says. There's Ohio's like got everything, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
Ohio has everything.
The Cleveland Flats, going up to Cleveland Flats, that's actually, I don't know if it's shitty now, but I used to come home on leave and go to the Cleveland Flats and go to the bars up there in the bar district on the flats. I heard that it's like all gentrified and like houses and shit now, but it used to be like a bar district.
I have been up in Cleveland since the 90s early 2000s. Like I'm a Browns fan, but I don't even want to fucking pay for a ticket to go to that game, to go to a game up there. It's just not worth it.
It's not. Last time I was in Cleveland, my car got broken into.
Well, that could happen anywhere. Come on. Let's be honest.
It's the only time my car has ever been broken into was in Cleveland, Ohio. I lived in Chicago.
Okay.
Like I was living. I had met a girl while I was in my A school and was living out in town when I was fucking around with my girlfriend. That's probably a good reason that when she didn't tell me she was pregnant.
Yeah.
I was basically living at this girl's place in downtown Chicago. And my car never got broke into. Cleveland, the car got broken.
Cleveland proper, or was it like suburbs? I mean,
it was Cleveland proper. I'm trying to think. It was down on High Street.
I don't even know where that's at. Like it's been so long. Cleveland State,
Cleveland State area down there. And I think it's because we went to go visit somebody we knew that was going to Cleveland State, if I remember.
I don't want to go either, and I'm a fan of the team. Like I don't, there's nothing to do there other than go to a Browns game if you want. Like I was looking last year, like I thought we were going to be good last year.
Yeah,
tickets for like even the upper deck were like $150, $200. I'm like, okay, so I got to drive 2 hours, pay for parking, pay for the tickets,
pay like $20 a beer,
and see Baker Mayfield stink it up.
Yeah,
nah, I'm good. I'll sit at home.
Oh, Rocky Mountain Bear is here. Bet you can't have just one. I don't know. Oh,
I think it's talking about strippers or the chips. Yeah. One of the oldest professions. Yeah.
I told that guy, I told him that, and the guy that was sitting with him turned and looked at me and he goes, "That sounds like you're talking from experience." And I'm like, "Oh, I've had my stripper or two." I was like, they always fuck shit up for you. Like they did.
Yeah.
Like that, you're like, Jesus Christ, why the fuck did I date a stripper? And then you fucking wake up in the morning and you get ready for work and you fucking move the sheets and you see her and you're like, oh yeah, that's why.
That's why.
Now I remember.
Dude, so I got
the ass I've ever seen in my life.
We had a guy in my platoon who was dating one, right? He could not wait to get home, and I got injured, and so I was back early, right? Yeah. He didn't have a car. He wanted to go up to Louisville. The night he got back, like he's out of Fort. They do this dog and pony show when you get back from deployment. They, for the family to watch you like parade into the, some gymnasium. Stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
That dude he had already messaged me like, "Hey, I'm going to need a ride after that, right?" I'm like, "Okay, I got you." I didn't know where. I thought he just wanted to maybe go out to Walmart or something, right? He's like, all right, we got to go up to this club up in Louisville. I'm like, for what? He goes, my girlfriend. I'm like,
Ah, shit.
dude, I got to take you up to a fucking. I didn't even see. I was like, have fun.
No, I mean, that's you're like, please tell me. Like when you got a junior guy who's like, I'm dating this chick, but she works at the strip bar, but she's different. I'm like, please tell me
they're
she's
all different.
the cook. Please tell me she's the cook, not the stripper.
I don't even know what she. I knew she was a stripper, but yeah, that would be better. You know, at least she can cook too. Nothing wrong with strippers, though. Nothing wrong.
No, there's not. But you get those young kids, you're just going to kind of look out for them. And the thing was, there's a lot of, the big problem was we were in Japan. And so most of the strip bars where you're going to have American or European chicks are run by the mafia. And, dating one of those girls can. Yeah,
that would be
very
real ugly.
Yeah, I mean, that puts your fucking security clearance at risk and all that shit.
Remember that movie? So it was a Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn movie, not Swingers. It was called Made.
Yeah. I do remember it. I don't remember the whole movie, but like I remember watching it. I was probably drunk.
The Jon Favreau's character was dating a stripper, and he lived with her. But then he was getting like all pissed off because he was like her bodyguard, if you will, and he'd get really mad at people who would touch her and shit like that. And I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
When it would come to like dating dating some stripper that was owned by the mafia.
Yeah. Well, I had friends that were in the Japanese mafia, and I was fucking. My father-in-law told me that like if I was gonna marry his daughter, I couldn't hang out with him anymore. But like I had met them through hanging out at bars and stuff, and they were good dudes. I knew that they were in the Yakuza. You can't. I mean, they've got tattoos clear their ears everywhere on their chest. And stuff. You can't not know. But they had like a little hangout, and I knew some of the guys, and it was just down the hill from my house where I was staying. Me and my roommate out in town. And so I'd go to, it was like a little pool hall. It was like a private club pool hall. And I would go there and I'd drink beer and play pool with them. And then I'd walk back up the hill to the house. My father-in-law found out. Like he saw me coming out of the place when my wife was driving him and his wife around to get groceries. He saw me coming out and the sign above the door identified it. And he was like, you can't go there anymore. It's like,
he went to date my daughter.
Yeah. He was adamant. Like you can't go there anymore. And I get it because I was talking to one dude one time when I was bitching about my supervisor. And I knew that they weren't like your average friends because I said something to a guy and I was like, yeah, he spoke pretty good English. I was like, usually my boss is a dick. I hate this dude. Like I just wish he'd fucking not come. Like I wish he hadn't come over here. And he goes, you want to find him in the river? I was like, no, absolutely not. I do not want that at all. Holy shit. I'm just like, okay, I won't fucking ever say anything to you about anything ever again.
Yeah, you said the wrong thing and you're going to wind up in an accessory to murder.
Yeah, if I could say the wrong thing while I'm drinking and my boss winds up in a lake. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, there's probably a lot of people that wouldn't mind that.
I was a dick.
Can you hear my dog snoring?
No, but I can't hear much anything at all.
I could. I didn't know she was right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking very apparent.
Mine does too, but yeah.
I've tightened everything I can find on it, and what drives me nuts is it's in that range of hearing I still have. So the lower register's gone, but all that upper stuff, like somebody's watch alarm going off or something beeping, like my daughter will forget that there's something in the microwave. I was like, what's that fucking beeping noise? Investigate that noise and make it go away. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, like, do you ever have that problem like with the hearing thing? You go to a restaurant and you can hear everybody around you, but not the people that are right there.
Any background noise. Any background noise at all. I love my daughter, and this garage is our living room. There's no TV in the living room in the house because I want that to be a quiet place where you relax and have friends and stuff like that. But out here, I have the TV that would be in the living room, and so there's a love seat, and a couple chairs and stuff out here behind my green screen, and we watch movies. We religiously watch movies on weekends. So tomorrow night, I believe we're watching some bullshit movie she picked out. I don't get a say in it. It's probably Barbie Life in the Dream. Fucking shit. But at any rate, if there's any noise, if it's something I'm interested in, if she's talking, I'm like, I can't. She's like, I'm not talking that loud. I'm like, do me a favor. If they're talking, shut up. Like, I can't fucking hear it. Hey Stacy, I forgot to send. Stacy won the members only giveaway on my Gilded server, and I forgot to send that out today. I like packed everything else up, and I just spaced the fact that you had sent me your address. I apologize. I will get that out to you next week. There we go.
We're reading the chat. Don't worry. Just not very much. I'm not used to it. Like, I streamed games maybe once or twice, and it was so hard to play a game and read chat and play a game and read chat. It was, but this is easier. I feel like.
I stream with on Twitch with my paying members. I just go into the Gilded server, and it's like Discord. I don't like Discord's. Jeremy has the Gilded thing, so that's where my server is. I
got kicked out of his Discord server.
Did you? Well, he uses Gilded now.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Like, it's the same as Discord, but it's just a place where like all the paying members can chat. I've set up like a knife trade. And guys, I might have a knife that I'll be offering on that. I got to find out from the guy if he wants me to sell it or not. So I have a knife trade. There's a knife live feed that we watch all the time. They have it runs 24/7. It's like a QVC, but it's all knives, 24 hours a day. And we watch that, and they're like, we'll be watching it, and we just on our phones commenting about like, this is some bullshit knives. Fucking, how much coke did this guy snort before he came on and shit like that. And so we'll do that in that chat, and I have like a knife trade, like people can buy and sell knives, and then showing off new stuff that came. Guys, before I forget, because I know we're talking about other stuff, I have a couple things that I'm really excited that are on the channel.
Yeah, if you want to take it, I gotta take a quick pee. Yeah, I have like my bladder's like this big.
Yeah, my bladder.
Yeah, dude, it's gotten horrible.
I'm probably going to go for about another 15 minutes, and then I'll just let everybody know that I'm going to do it. But yeah, guys, check this out. Yeah, go ahead. I'll put a solid here.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So, I'll be right back then.
Cool. So Chris over at Ferrum Forge Knife Works sent me this. He reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to get to see the Aloris. And so it showed up today. I did first day in pockets. Well, not first day in pockets. I did unboxing. And then, like I said, Mr. Winston Cobretti provided us with an honest to goodness Colt Steel Counterattack 1, the big one. Because I had said I hadn't ever gotten to see one. So I will be. So if you guys don't know what's being given away yet this month for the paying members for the month of July, I'll be drawing it on August 1st. I will go grab that. Oh, hang on. It's not that far. Don't catch that. Where'd it go? Hang on a second. I'll be right back. I'm trying to find it. There it is. I'm giving away to the paying members. Well, everyone's eligible except for Stacy because she just won. I'm not going to let anybody win 2 months around. I'm doing the Predator, the Artisan Cutlery Predator in S30. Is this S35VN? Yeah, S35VN and blue titanium. It's a cool looking knife. I like this knife. I just never carry it. It's just not fair because I don't think these are around anymore. So, yeah, well, John's using the toilet. Just wanted to know. So, Stacy, I will get that out to you. I'll try for Monday. I've got so much stuff coming up next week. I actually have got everything filmed till Wednesday. I could go all the way to Wednesday and not film anything and still have content going up. But I want to try and get everything done because I've got some stuff coming up in the future here. I've got some friends that are coming in August, and I'm probably going to take a few days off because I'm going to take a few days off from filming because my buddy from Arizona is going to be in town for like 3 or 4 days. Hey, Alan's back.
I picked a great time too because it just started raining and my windows were down on my car.
Oh,
so
yeah, I don't ever have that problem. I don't remember when. I don't remember when the last time it rained out here was.
Oh. It's been a few weeks since it rained here, so we need it.
Yeah. It's been, I don't know, 6-7 months since it rained out here.
Good Lord.
Yeah, my water bill is like $300 because we have a yard and I have to keep it watered because we're renting.
Oh.
Stacy, I will absolutely swap that if that's what you want. If you want this knife instead of the Beagle, I will do that, and then I will just roll the Beagle into this month. So I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as the consensus is that everybody else is cool with it. I mean, we'd have to ask the other members. Just go ask them in the chat. Just go ask them in the chat. So yeah, like I was saying, I was telling everybody. So this knife showed up today. I'm good friends with the designers. It's actually the owner of the company is the guy that taught me how to make knives.
Okay.
So I've been friends with them for a long time. They're great dudes. They're local here in San Diego. And the younger brother that runs like the business side of shit, as opposed to the go make knife, cut things, fire, which is what Elliot is. He's the designer and Chris does all the business side of the house. He was like, hey, you haven't been to the shop. You haven't seen any new stuff. How about I just send you one of the knives the new ones that got released, this Aloris? And I was like, yeah, just let me know what kind of time frame you need it back so that I can get it back to you. So, in a timely manner. So you get it. He's like, no, you can keep it. I was like, oh, free shit.
Thank you.
I forgot how this influencer stuff works.
Yeah.
This is a great knife.
That looks pretty sturdy.
Stupid smooth.
You get I know I've got my
coffee brand coffee.
Do you get anything out of that? Like, do people actually buy from you? Like, use your referral link?
I've gotten a bunch of referrals, but no purchases. And to tell you the truth, I honestly don't care if I get any purchases. I like the idea. And it has nothing to do. It has absolutely nothing to do with his channel. It's the fact. It's like it doesn't support anything. You know what I want to support? I want to support the company. Being a small business owner, I wouldn't want someone to buy my stuff and then expect me to spend money anywhere but the business.
Yeah,
it's just counterproductive. I just don't see how businesses, like, I get it. They get a boost like during Pride and everything, which I don't care. Live your best life. I don't give a fuck.
Sure.
Just leave me the fuck alone and shut up.
Yeah.
That's all I fucking want. Why is this guy so angry? Like, why is he always so angry? I just want to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone so I don't have to punch things. But yeah, I like that whole idea because I'll pay a little bit more for a product if I know that they're going to use that money to improve upon the company, to hire people to do better products. It's a self-fulfilling thing. So, plus it's fucking good.
It is. I don't like coffee, man. And I was like, okay, because I thought maybe literally I've met my co-host. I met through Quarterin's comments like a year ago, right? All the other guys I play video games with are guys, I swear to God, I've met in Jeremy's comments. I'm like, we can't be the only veterans out there, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to like try and make a little bit of money because I've spent so much money on equipment that I'm not getting any money back, right? I thought, okay, because I put this podcast on Spotify and shit. Well, you got to pay for that, right? To get uploaded onto Spotify. If I could just make a little bit of money.
You can do it on Apple. You can do it on Apple Podcast as a subscription-based thing. And you can do it on Apple Podcast, but you don't have to pay for it. But they take a portion of it. So it's like YouTube does. It's like all the super chats that you see guys see me get.
Right.
I get like 30%. So like when I did a thing where, because my air conditioner in my car fucking shot, and the guys donated enough for me to get the parts. On paper, yes, they donated enough for me to get the parts, but I only get 30. I always forget. Like, I should have done the math. I only get 30% of that. I
thought it was 70-30, 70 to you, 30 to YouTube. That's shit.
Okay, you might have that right.
Either way, well, I'm not trying to get.
I got into this resin. I'm fucking sitting here.
It's all good, man. No, what I was trying to say was, like, okay, if I can get like 5 people to use my referral link a month, that would pay for the hosting site that I could upload my audio to, because I'm done spending money on shit and not making any money back in this spectrum, Like I have so many painting tools that I bought like maybe 15, 20 years ago, and I'm like, oh, I used that once. I've never used it again. But I made money with it, you know. I've got all this shit. I've got 2 monitors, a computer,
I've got
fucking
shit
2.
like that too.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of stuff. When we moved, we downsized a bunch of stuff. My wife was so upset, and I was like, if we have stuff that was stuff from our wedding that has never been used.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
20 some years later.
We've been married for 21 fucking years. And I told her, I was like, babe, because we just moved in last year. I was like, babe, we've been married for 20 years. We have not used that. We got those the day we got married. They were a gift, and we've never used them. I was like, if we open a box and it's something that has not seen the light of day in at least a year,
you probably don't need it.
It's going, because she was like, well, you can't throw that away. It's this, not. I was like, we haven't used it in over a year. What the fuck sense does it make to keep it? And so she went through a bunch of stuff. We had a bunch of like plates and stuff like that. And I'm like, I was like, she's like, we'll start using these. And I was like, fine. Like, if we're going to use them, that's fine. And I took so much stuff to Goodwill, and then it turns around and it bit me in the ass because there was something that I was looking for. And she definitely told me.
She won't let you forget that either, will she? Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was looking for this little table thing. It was like a folding table almost. And I was like, oh, I can use that instead of these milk crates that I move around the garage. It takes up less space. I was like, babe, have you seen that? She goes, you took that to Goodwill. You said if we hadn't used it in a year. And I was like, stop. She's like, you said if we hadn't used it in a year that it needed to go to Goodwill. And I was like, I know. She's like, do you want me to say it again? And I was like, no, I got it.
Maybe you could go buy it over at Goodwill.
I fucking got it. I fuck you. I just didn't have any. I had no response.
Yeah. What do you? Maybe that's why I'm not married. I don't think I could handle that.
I'll tell you what. I could never picture spending this long with anyone other than my wife, because I'm not gonna say I've had nothing but good days, but I've never had a boring day. Let's just say that. Like, I have never had a day with my wife that wasn't interesting in some way. And it's the fact that she's 100% Japanese, born and raised, until she was 26. She was 24 when we got married. I was 26. She was 24. I think it's those differences in culture, and there's things that I can point to specifically. There's stories, like I'll tell you one in a second, but I think it's those differences in culture and the different perspectives. It's always like something has happened every day that I look at it and go like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we wind up laughing about it, or we don't talk for a day or two. So like the prime example of what I'm talking about is our first Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It was our first Halloween, and I hadn't decorated it. Like, it was like a rediscovering childhood. All these little things that Japanese people don't do that we celebrate. It was like rediscovering my childhood through my wife, because she didn't know what Halloween was.
Right.
She didn't know about a lot of the stuff that we do, like Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and all these things. And so I go get these pumpkins, and I'm like, we're going to carve these pumpkins. And so I was doing mine outside, and she was doing hers at the kitchen table. And she's like, I come in, and she had cut the bottom out of her pumpkin. And I was like, what the fuck is she doing? But I see all these rings of more pumpkin that she had cut out of the bottom of the pumpkin. And I was like, and she just keeps making the hole bigger, but she'd done the face. It was really cool looking. And I was like, why are you cutting the bottom? And why didn't you do the thing from the top? And I was like, why do you keep making the hole bigger? And she said, well, how am I supposed to get it on my head? And I was like, baby.
Nice.
I'm like, baby,
She thought.
we're not going to wear them. We're going to put, like, when I walked in, when I walked in the first time to grab a beer, because our kitchen table was tiny, there just wasn't enough room. And so I saw she had cut a hole in the bottom. I was like, that's actually kind of brilliant, because you can clean it out. The top isn't all screwed up, and you can put the candle on easier than the pumpkin on top. And I was like, that's brilliant. I don't know why I never thought of that. And when I came back in, I was like, what is she fucking doing? She thought we were going to wear them. I was like, no, we fucking put a candle in it. And the light shines. She's like, oh. And I was like, I'll be right back. So I drove to the base commissary and bought her another pumpkin. Those are the things I'm talking about. Like, never a dull day. She grew up with two older brothers. So she does evil shit to me. Like, she likes to scare the fuck out of me. Like I came home to our first place we lived in San Diego one time, and I walked in and she was gone. I was like, the house is unlocked. I have our only vehicle. The TV's on. I was like, what in the fuck? But I saw that all the pots and pans from the 2 cupboards right at the sink were up like to the left of the sink. Everything from it was in there. And I was like, why is all that shit? And as I'm thinking that, she was hiding in the cupboard, reached out and grabbed my leg. I was like, ah! And I was like, you fucking know how close you came to fucking dying right now? This is fucking Christ. I ought to kill you right this moment. Fucking don't do that shit to me. Fucking, like, she fucking chills. You're like, your heart beats. Like,
Oh,
Jesus Christ,
yeah.
I just lost 3 days off my fucking life.
People used to do that when I was in the ocean swimming. Somebody come up. I hate water. Like, maybe that's another reason why I couldn't do the Navy. Like, I won't go if I can't see my feet in the water. I won't probably go in it. But
I wasn't like that. I wasn't ever like that until recently. I have a phobia of deep water. Like, I can go to a pool and I'm fine. Like, I'm in a pool, even everybody's like, oh, it's over your head. And I'm like, no, I don't know what it is, and it's not a fear of anything specific. It's not like, oh, I'm scared of sharks or this or that. I just now have developed, and I used to swim. We used to do swim call. You couldn't see land in any direction. It's like 2,000 feet deep water. And I would do that in a heartbeat. Loved it. Loved swimming in the ocean. I tried to go swim out, and I have developed this phobia of deep water. Like, I couldn't, like, right now, my buddy's like, oh, I have my boat. We could go out for the day. I was like,
no,
I don't think I can.
Yeah.
As much as I loved it and I missed it, I don't think I could do it now. I've developed, like, there's a name for it. My sister told me what it is. But it's like the fear. It's the fear of the deep water. I couldn't do it. I used to love to go to the beach out here and take the dog and we'd go swim, and I'd try to fucking surf, but yeah, not anymore.
No, I think the last time I was on the water was that Lake Erie Wounded Warrior Project fishing trip about a decade ago. And my buddy would, when I got out of the Army, he'd want to take me fishing. Like, nah, I'm good. We'll stay on the shore. He want to take his little boat out. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't know I don't know. If I cannot see my feet in it, I'm not getting in it. But yeah, people used to, like, they come up to me and grab my leg or something like that in the water, in the ocean. Oh, I hate that shit.
I never had a problem with it. I just don't fucking. And then my sister's fucking evil. Like, beyond. Like, we talked about it. Like, we'll send stuff to each other. Like, we have the darkest sense of humor possible. We'll send things to each other. And I sent her one, and she's like, okay, there's 2 things. One, you have upgraded from the bus to hell to the plane. And she's like, I'm pretty sure you're not sitting in coach. And I was like, what? And she's like, don't worry, I'll be right there with you, because I laughed so hard I spit food all over the counter. And she's like, that is the most horrible thing I've ever seen. And I laughed so hard I could not contain myself. She's like, I almost peed. And I was like, oh. She's like, don't worry, you'll have company. We're both going to be on that plane together. Yeah, it's bad. So, but yeah, I'm fucking high, and I forgot where I was going with that story.
I don't even know. Stacy says that, I don't know. She said it a while ago. She said, us females can do things. Where'd it go? Oh, females can do things that can bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
I think she's referring to, like, one of your wife's stories.
Oh, my wife is a nut. Shit, my wife is a blast.
So I used to work with a guy that married a Japanese girl. He was in the Army. He got her. She came up. She was from Japan, but she was living in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And I guess a lot of, like, Asians in general go over to Vancouver. Like, there's a ton of them there.
Yeah.
They're just fleeing the countries, and I guess Canada's, like, a good place for them to go into.
Vancouver's got a really big outreach program for stuff like that, and victims of trafficking and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, Japan's a blast, because there's so many weird cultural differences.
Mm-hmm.
Definite cultural differences. And there's still stuff, like I said, like the whole fucking thing with the pumpkin. It's like that. But that's the day that I was like, I think we'd been married. We got married in September. No, we hadn't even gotten married yet. It was right after September 11th, because we got married in November. So it was right after 9/11. And I had been on base for Delta lockdown for fucking ever.
Mhm.
And they finally had released a bunch of stuff. We went to Charlie and we were in advance, all these weird duty sections and stuff. And then we finally were able to finish. We were supposed to get married the following week, but everything got pushed off because I couldn't get her on base to do the paperwork and stuff like that. So it was that October. So in between, so we got married in November. So that was the month before. It was that Halloween. And she's like, I thought we were going to put them on and wear them. And said we were going to go get candy. I was like, no, kids go get candy. I was like, we're not going anywhere. I taught her English, so there's probably a good reason why she says fuck so much. But yeah, she just wasn't picking. I was like, oh, 私とあなたは違うよ。子供はここ来るわ、candyはあげるよ. She was like, ah.
Wait, so you know Japanese pretty well then, I take it.
Yeah, I was there for 30
Okay, yeah.
Plus my wife's Japanese and I communicate.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was like, she's like, I was like, yeah, we are not going out to get candy. Children might come here to get candy. We're going to give them candy. The pumpkins, and I showed her like the light, she's like, and I was like, I'll be right back. That's why I got her own pumpkin so she could redo it.
I think if I was going to get married, like I'd rather have somebody who's from a different country. Like you said, it keeps you on your toes, I love learning about other cultures. I love it. So I think if I was going to ever get married or like date somebody, they have to be from a different country. They have to be.
It's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot about you learn how weird, things that you don't think of as weird, little things that you do. And then she looks at you and you're like, what? She goes, wow, what is that all about? And I can't think of anything right off the top of my head because there's some big examples.
Yeah.
Like the Halloween thing. But there's just like little daily things where I see her looking at me. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, you do this. She's like, no, do it like this. And she shows me, I'm like, that's absolutely nothing I was ever taught. And she's like, oh no, maybe you just, I was like, no. And I'll get a hold of a buddy. I was like, you ever seen anybody do this way? And they're like, nope. Nope. Fucking food. Do you know what a big one is that's weird is there are things that my daughter loves that my wife can't stand. And it's a palate thing. And so like Dr. Pepper and root beer, my daughter likes both of those. I drink it. I didn't try to tell her that it didn't taste good. My wife, I've never met a Japanese person that can drink Dr. Pepper or root beer and enjoy it. It's like, that's disgusting. It tastes like medicine. I'm like, it's just a cultural thing.
Thinking about it, both of those have like a really strong bite to them.
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with it. Have you ever tried the Dr. Pepper cherry?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
I probably drink, if I drink a soda a month, it would be one a month, if that. I had a couple when I had COVID just because I needed fucking calories and I just couldn't eat. It's just like everything I ate made me fucking sick. So, yeah, I maybe have one soda a month. So when I do have a soda, it's probably going to be a Dr. Pepper cherry.
Those are so good.
A Barks root beer.
Oh yeah. You know what? The zero sugar A&W root beer tastes really good. I don't know.
I don't drink enough. I don't drink enough soda. I've never been like a lot of sweets and stuff like that.
I'm trying to whittle my way off of sugars and stuff. Apparently, what's it called? The low blood sugar runs my family, and I'm
hypoglycemia.
No, what do they call that?
Diabetes.
Diabetic, yeah.
You got the sugar. You got the sugar.
Being diabetic runs in my family, and apparently I'm getting pretty close to needing insulin. So I'm trying to whittle my way off of that shit too.
The thing you got to be careful with is diet soda is going to give your body the same pancreatic response, and then there is no sugar for it to digest. It can actually. That's one of the things about diet sodas. They can actually make diabetics worse. Because everybody's like, you can't have sugar. And I'm like, yeah, but the fact is that the response, because of the flavor and stuff, is the same. You dump a bunch of insulin and then there's nothing to break, then there's no sugars to break down, no extra sugars from that. And then your body, then you get what they call is the insulin insensitivity. And it's caused it can be caused from that. That's one of the big things that they're starting to realize is that the artificially flavored sodas, the aspartame and all that stuff, they give your body, once you taste that, it's that chemical reaction in your brain tells your pancreas, dump a bunch of insulin. And so you dump a bunch of insulin and then
You don't have anything
to break down it. Yeah. So now you've got all this insulin in your system and your tolerance to that insulin builds up to where it just doesn't do anything.
That makes sense.
That's the way I understood it.
That I wouldn't doubt that. Well,
every once in a while, I have these thoughts that pop through my head, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we forget every once in a while. Like you play dumb so much that we forget you're actually intelligent." And I'm like, yeah, "Shh, keep it a secret.
don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. It's a big secret."
Diet cherry vanilla is the best, and Dr. Pepper. Or Diet cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper. That's a mouthful. Good Lord.
I'll tell you what I've started drinking. Shit, it's been 2 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I started drinking kombucha, and I'd seen it, and people would tell me, it was like, oh, it's fermented tea. And I'm like, no, thanks.
Fermented tea?
And I saw how it was made. It's like this big slimy mass on top. It's the fungus that ferments the tea. And then, so I had perforated intestine, and the doctor's like, you've got to fix your gut biome because we've had you on horrible amounts of antibiotics. I had IV antibiotics, and then I was taking for almost a month. I took like super strong, heavy doses of 2 other really strong antibiotics. And they were like, you've got to fix that. Lots of yogurt, lots of what do you call them? The probiotics, the probiotic bacteria. And so I was like, well, fuck it. I saw a kombucha at the base commissary, and I was like, it's got like 60 million probiotic fucking microbacterial. Yeah, not microbial.
Yeah.
Life forms that are like good for your gut biome. And I drank one, and I was like, that's actually really fucking good. And so I have to go to the commissary like twice a week, and I usually wind up with one of those.
Kombucha.
Yeah, it's like fermented tea and shit. My favorite is the ginger berry flavor. So it's ginger and some kind of berry, and it's in black and green tea that's been fermented. It's fucking good. It's like it's naturally carbonated like a soda. I'm like, that's really fucking good. It's not got a lot of sugar in it. It's kind of sour. It's fucking good. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. It's not even spelled how I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah, it's spelled with K.
Yeah.
K-A-M.
Kombucha.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, if I ever see it, I'll try it.
Yeah,
I'm always looking for something else to replace soda.
Yeah,
I'm drinking this stupid ass Red Bull right now, but you know.
They're expensive though. Those fucking the bottles are like fucking $2.84 a bottle. I'm like, God, they're good, but fucking 6 of them for like $15 is about the best I've seen them.
Okay.
And they have to stay refrigerated. You can't leave them out. Like, you can't put them on the counter because they're fucking fermented.
Right.
So.
Love kombucha. Yeah. June shine.
I get the GT's raw kombucha. That's that's the one I go with now because it's always got a lot of ginger in it, which surprisingly I fucking like. So,
I've learned something new today.
I'm gonna probably end this because it's been 2 hours, and I'll just keep going if I don't stop. But I don't fucking want to. I want to play video games and shit because now I'm high. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end it. It's been a blast. Go make sure you go. Go follow the Jokin and Smokin podcast.
No, I got it. I put it in the chat for you.
Yeah, Jokin and Smokin. Hopefully I spelled.
Can I link in the chat or?
No, but the name of it is right there.
Okay,
I've got it blocked so that only moderators can do it. So I don't know if one of the moderators can see it and approve it.
I don't know how that works on YouTube.
No, my moderators might be able to, because what happens is you put it up and it'll show up as blocked. They should see it as moderators, and then they can choose to approve it or deny it.
Well, I sent a message in the chat. They can just click on my thing, if they want it. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I haven't done a live podcast in a long time. So yeah,
I do these every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Cool.
every week, unless like that when I was like I said, I wound up in the hospital for a while, and then right after I got better, first thing I was able to do was drive my daughter to Disneyland, and unbeknownst to me, she had been exposed to COVID, and we both wound up with that from being in a car together for 2 hours driving from San Diego to. Yeah, it was worth it. It's fun. I like any time I get to spend with my daughter. Now she's too old. She's too old to want to spend time with daddy.
Yeah, she's at that age. It was like when I remember I was like 12, 13. I started hating my parents too. Yeah, not wanting to be around them. You're not as cool as you once were. But then they'll come back. You come back around. They'll come back around.
I hope she comes around soon, because guys men in my family do not have a long shelf life. I cannot think of any male on my dad's side of the family that has made it past 65.
Oh, damn.
My dad retired from the sheriff's department, and then he retired in I want to say he retired in January. In July, he started feeling sick.
Mm-hmm.
Got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He passed away on Christmas. Like, he didn't even have a full year of retirement. And that's when he told me, that's why I quit my government job. He was like, don't slave yourself to that. Enjoy the time you got. He's like, I always thought there'd be more time. That's why I told him. I was like, when he retired and now I was retired, I had a cushy GS-11 government job. And I was like, it wasn't cushy. It was a fucking bullshit, fucking miserable job. But I was getting paid really well. And we were like, yeah, I've got all this time, and now you're retired. And we started playing it. And he's like, yeah, don't do that to yourself. Fucking, he's like, be a little selfish. So we're skimming by on my retirement and what I make from podcasts and YouTube and affiliate links and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely stressful about like money and income and stuff, but I'm
sure
not miserable. And my temper has improved if I'm not in that environment, because when you work for the government after you retire, and a lot of guys do that because it's that like it's like you're not ready to let go of mama's hand yet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of the stuff that lingers on because you're still in that environment, because you're working on a military base as HPS with the military, and you just don't let as much of it go, and so those habits just continue to. Oh, hey, Rocky Mountain Bear posted up. Yeah, guys, go follow.
Oh, there we go.
Go follow it.
Thank you.
So yeah, Rocky Mountain Bear is one of my moderators. They can post up stuff. You got to be careful because there's so much bullshit that happens when you're doing an actual live feed, because you get people that jump in and they try and get your shit shut down, and they curse and they like drop porn links and shit. They're assholes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Eventually, that's the plan, is to live stream some of these podcasts that we do. I like having the ability to go back and edit, especially when you start talking about shit you probably should be talking about. It's like, well, we'll just nix that out, right?
It's in the chat. What they try to do is they go in the chat, and because as the channel owner, I'm responsible for what happens in the chat, in my video chat,
mm-hmm.
for the videos that are posted up, for any of that. I'm responsible for it, and I can suffer consequences because someone did something in my chat. So I've set up some pre-made filters. Like, there's some stuff that's just like keywords that if you type them, it won't pop up. And then I have a bunch of moderators that can take stuff down. It's a good idea to have that when you start doing live feeds. It's really good to set it up so that it pre-filters stuff. You can be really strict about it too, and then you can add your own set of words. Like, if you don't want anybody talking about president stuff, political stuff, any of that shit, you can set it up so that your chat is free of that.
Yeah, and I've done that before. I used to be a moderator for a guy on the Cleveland Browns right now. His name's Johnny Stanton, and I set up all that shit for him on Twitch. But he was also really strict about what
Yeah, you got to, especially if you're making money on it. If you're making money on it, you don't want to lose that. That's
definitely not.
And people are like, oh, you're an asshole, and you're censoring. And I was like, I mean, I don't believe in a lot of censorship, but there's stuff that I just know I can't do here.
Yeah.
And you are trying. I was like, you say that I'm censoring you. I'm trying to prevent my business from getting shut down. You see,
people don't understand that.
I don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, that's what I say. I told everybody, I was like, when we're doing a live feed, I've invited you into my garage. You're in my garage at this time, and if you don't know how to behave, then I'll kick you the fuck out.
Yep.
I
Well, I appreciate everybody coming to my basement too.
Yeah. So I'm going to end this. We're going to end this, and then you can reach out to me through Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I'll check out your guild too.
Say what?
I'll check out your guild too.
So my Gilded is only paying members. It's one of the benefits.
Okay.
I set it up specifically for paying members of the channel.
Gotcha.
So that way they have a place where they can talk amongst themselves. That's not like cluttered with trying to find a spot in the chat on some videos is a pain in the ass. Like we have people, like you can see the guys are doing like the sidebar conversations, the chat.
Yeah.
It's cool. But as long as I can keep up with it, then if I don't, I look like an idiot. But yeah, it's a way for them to do that where it's not as crowded. They can just talk amongst themselves.
Gotcha. Cool.
So, all right.
Cool.
I'm gonna end this, guys. Have a good evening. Go down to the Bastards Road Project and see about donating. I want to do another live feed where we did one here not long ago where 50%. Actually, no, that one we did. Everything went to the Bastards Road Project. Everything I got from that live feed went to the Bastards Road Project. That was the first podcast we did. We need to do that one again. I want to do another cancer one as well, and we're gonna probably do pancreatic cancer since that's what my dad died from. I like to do that. April was his birthday. We just didn't do it yet because I was in and out of the hospital. So guys, I love you all. I'm gonna fucking shut this down or I'll be here till midnight.
Yeah.
Alan, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.